we do.
All right, 4 weeks in a row, we're officially back. What's up, the Crimson Blur on the Commentator's Curse? What is up?
And fantastic. Couldn't be better. It is raining in San Francisco, so that kind of keeps me down. But otherwise, I'm all right because now I'm in SoCal in my apartment and everything's okay.
Damn. Well, we got a lot to talk about. Actually, it's actually nice that we're in a steady flow of events, and then we also have events the following week. So we have events before Commentator's Curse to talk about, and events afterwards that we have to talk about. So awesome stuff. We haven't heard much of Smash 5 ever since last week, so we're kind of going to skip it. There's a lot we could speculate on, and we could probably do a 4-hour show on what there is, but we're not going to do that. We're going to talk about Melee.
I think what we have to speculate on first and foremost is, will the subreddit ever calm down or equalize at any point in this year? That's what I'm really curious about. When will the balance of power return to form, or will it just not? Until release? You know
what really sucks? You know the countdown of the top 100 players? It got cut off because they announced the scam. I don't even know if it reaches the front page anymore.
Pour one out for my boy Edwin Budding and Pikachu
942.
How do you remember the number every time? I never remember it.
Because we're in the Melee Stats Discord. That's the only way. I'm like literally cheating.
Can we? By the way, add me to that. Can I get some respect around here? But also, that might be the worst tag of all time, right?
No, I'm pretty sure we've had worse. Like,
it's not offensively bad, but it's just forgettably bad. Because the offensively bad ones, like let's say Wieners.
Wieners is actually by far the worst tag.
It's quite a bad tag. He just does it because it's bad, and therefore he wants people to chant it.
So it's like a meta.
Yeah. It has some meta influence, but it's memorable, right? Pikachu 9-4 whatever 3. It's just the most immemorable tag. He's not Pikachu. That's not what Pikachu is. When I think Pikachu, I don't think of him. I don't even know he's a Pikachu player, and he's got random numbers of that.
You know what's really funny? So we're in the Discord, and I have no clue what he looks like. And he actually came up to me at SmashCon, and he played a friendly with me, and I didn't know it was him until after the weekend was over, and he said, I played friendlies with you.
Well, did he play Pikachu?
No, he played Falco and Marth, apparently. And you know what his hint was to me? So granted, I came on a red eye, so I was really tired. He temporarily hovered to Pikachu and made his tag 942, but I paid no attention to that because I was really tired. And then he switched to Falco, and then we played, and I had no clue that was Pikachu 942.
Can I say something on a related note? I looked on I was like browsing Smash Wiki recently, and I stumbled upon my own article, and on the bottom it said this. There's someone added a note. I'm gonna pull it up for myself. It said that someone beat me, and honestly, the part is like, I guess it might be true. It says he played a BO5 $3 money match with Gaz at What the Fox 2 and lost. I don't remember this. I mean, I wouldn't. To be fair, I wouldn't remember this. Like, it's not something I remember. But this dude Gaz wrote a bullet in my Smash Wiki. It must be him, right? Like, no one else would put that in.
Maybe what region's What the Fox?
It was in Memphis.
I feel like one of the Tennessee homies would probably write something.
Maybe, potentially. Yeah. But I also don't think it's true. I don't think I lost any money matches that weekend.
Well, on the bright side, we don't have any evidence of you having to create a picture of the guy, right? Or draw a picture.
Yeah. And it's also like it's put in a bullet point of Fleur is infamous for having lost the Kirby sets, and he's a bullet point within those 3, like he's a Kirby. I definitely didn't lose to a Kirby then. That's not true. And second of all, my second loss to Sierra Rabbit, which they're documenting, I lost while I was at the Foundry. Armada's lost to Sierra Rabbit at the Foundry too. But his loss doesn't get counted. What the heck?
Well, because you weren't drunk.
I was! I was! Why did I get a break here?
Because you're the Crimson Blur. You know when you build up credit for yourself and you eventually get the benefit of the doubt? That Moon and Night set has haunted you for years. And so people just kind of assume after that, it all goes downhill after that first set, right?
That's like 6 years ago. I mean, I don't really care because it's whatever. I know in my mind what happened in that situation. I understand it, and I encapsulate, and I've suffered enough, in my opinion, about it. But I get it. People like to meme out. Sometimes you just want to meme out. I understand. But these other two, you're just spreading fake news. It's not good. Gaz doesn't even. I don't even know who that is. That guy just put that there.
I'm sorry, man. You're just gonna have to live with it, just like how I lose to DKs.
Did you lose to a DK?
Shandy, DreamHack Austin.
Oh. See, you don't need to spread it around. I don't go around spreading around.
I mean, you are right now.
I suppose I am. Also, good players lose to low tiers, and no one bats an eye. Like you lost to DK, freaking Reno lost to Westball's DK. There's like hundreds of examples. Like Unknown lost to a Bowser, a genuine pro player. Excuse me, Ryan Ford lost to a Bowser, and no one brings it up. No one brings it up. My loss to Kirby somehow relevant. I don't know.
Well, it's because it's the last thing we've ever done as players.
It's not the last. I have so many good, amazing performances. Can't call them wins, but performances. So I just feel like it's unfair. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, that's fair. All right, speaking of performances, shall we talk about last week? I actually want to bring up a document of our picks in comparisons to how they did.
Okay. So I'm gonna be honest. This might be the event that we were most wrong at, and here's my explanation, Tafo. We were so absurdly wrong about EGLX, and I know why. You being wrong, nothing new. So that part we can skip past.
No. We're gonna talk about the arcadian.
We can just fly past Tafo for a bit because he's usually wrong. But me being wrong, I know you guys are used to that. And I'll say this: the eye test doesn't work if there are no events for the eye test to look upon. How am I supposed to see the skill level of players on a and determine how strong they are at any given time if there are no events for me to watch them? You can't watch people if there are no events. So, the reason I said Lucky was going to do well, for example, if you remember, I said because, hey, SoCal's hyping him up. Not because of anything I've been watching. Not because of anything I've seen. Because everyone knows the eye test never fails. So I think I've got a valid excuse here.
Maybe we just underestimated how good Crush is.
Maybe. Or maybe there's been no real footage of tournaments for a long time, and there was no way of knowing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what's going on here.
Or maybe Ryan Ford is just really that good. He double digged the Dignitas team.
He absolutely did. Hugo, heartbreaking set. What the heck? So let's talk about it. You want to talk about how poorly we predicted that tournament? We're so. Hey, we've never been this wrong before.
For any consolation, we picked Hungrybox to win.
Great, fantastic, and he didn't even really win. I'm just gonna say it. He didn't even really win.
Yeah, you're right.
I think he would have won anyways. I mean, he won winners finals, but there were some extreme invalid Johns in this one. And in the world of Smash Brothers, there's a lot of Johns. We all do Johns, but this might be the rare case of a valid John, one that we accept into the history books, because I personally consider it genuinely poor playing conditions, and it's hard to counter for anything.
Hungrybox wasn't even happy about the win.
Kendall in the chat chimes in and gives his opinion and says, HBox won. Shut up, Blur. Ooh, little mean. Don't like the tone. He said, no Johns. That is your opinion. However, you're not the one with the microphone, so I'm going to say this. What happened there didn't look right to me. The set did not look like a top-level set. We had... game one, he got up throw arrested, 3 times? Was that right, Tafo? Is that the right number?
It was something... it was ugly.
He, SD'd his last stocks on, every single game. Because he just gave up. Clearly, it affected his mentality. It was not a real set of high-level competitive melee, in my opinion. And that's the eye test right there. All 4 stocks were up to arrest according to Practical TAS. What do you guys think? Do you guys think maybe he would have DI'd that better if he didn't have to, pushed his controller, which is probably frozen, to its case, and move it to the side. He couldn't do that because it was just too cold. You know, molecules move slower when temperature's slower, right, Tafo?
Yeah,
That's a scientific fact.
it is.
You can't DI up to a rest in cold temperatures.
You're right. Well, so I agree with you. I don't know that wasn't a good look for the tournament. Other than the fact that like I think everything else for EGLX went pretty well aside from that. So you know what? I'm gonna have to give props to EGLX for everything else because they stepped up in terms of like the tournament experience for the players. A lot of players said they were gonna come back. It was just unfortunate that it ended on that note.
Yeah. Unfortunate choice word. Disagree with it, but I do think that for the most part, the event leading up to the end was adequate.
Yes.
It was an okay event, and we just wanted to have that's all we really needed because at this point we were starved. So
Yeah.
oh,
There were some things you did predict well. I mean, hugs over Zane. We actually both didn't predict the game count correctly. He 30'd our boy.
yeah, he 30'd him. What did we predict? We said Zane would take games, right?
I said 2 games, you said 1 game. We both picked Hugo to win that set.
Point is, I was more right, which is really,
and we were both wrong on the Wizzy versus Axe.
Oh my God, we were so wrong, so wrong. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Axe, one of his worst tournaments. We did talk about how Axe slumps though, so you gotta give us a little credit for that one.
Yeah, and it's like uncharacteristic because like every previous encounter of Pikachu versus Amsa, like Axis won, and he got 30'd here. But Amsa did tweet out that like Axe wasn't feeling well, so I don't really know what to take of that. Have to point out with Wizzy, you look at his resume in the last 6 months, actually very comparable to Mango. Both players are remarkably consistent against everyone 7 and below. And Wizzy's only lost to L and a set to Amsa in terms of people that are 7 or worse.
Wow.
In the past 6 months.
So you're trying to say Wizzy's moving up in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, after this performance, and he's just so remarkably consistent. It's kind of funny, like, Wizzy has only, like, one God win in, like, 12 attempts, so he's, like, 1 in 11 or 1 in 12 or something, like, ludicrously bad against the top 6. But against everybody else, he's crushing SBAT every time they play, and he's just, like, winning every set. I think, like, it's pretty crazy that you can actually debate him at, like, number 7 with Axe.
Yeah, for sure. It should be said that Axe's lifetime against Wizzy is still really solid. It's just insane to beat Pikachu with Falcon, so we're all kind of surprised.
Yeah.
And we don't just mean theoretical matches or whatever. I think even on a theoretical level, I think Pikachu wins.
It's a very unforgiving matchup for Falcon.
Also on a practical level, like you mentioned, winning a tournament set is particularly difficult because Pikachu hits super hard against Falcon. So and Edgeguard super hard too. So really impressive.
You know what's really cool about this tournament? It featured all 3 up and coming, rising up the ranks players that I deemed, or like 4 players that I deemed to be very moving up the ranks. You have Hugo that we've been talking about a lot, Crush, Zane, and Amsa. I feel like these are like the 4 players that have definitely been stepping it up in that tier. Would you agree with me there?
Yes, and let's take some time. Taffokins, to talk about Amsa. Amsa, we talked about how hard of his bracket was last time on last show. He had a genuinely hard bracket. SFAT and winners, and then he falls to fight Swedish, and then Ice, and it ended up being Axe. We thought it was going to be Wizzy because we thought Wizzy would win. Yeah. But a really hard road. It definitely doesn't get easier when it gets to top 8. So, but a lot of people were like, I don't know. Maybe he's not going to make top 8. Matter of fact, he could have gone as low as like 17th if he had lost to Swedish, right?
It was a game 5 set. It was really close.
It was really close. So he had a big band of placings that he could have gotten, and he ended up on the upper end of it, like as high as you could feasibly imagine him getting as he got 4th. So that's nuts. That's crazy. And more than anything, I think it's just inspiring. His story is amazing, and his dedication to the craft, his professionalism, like the fact that every time he comes out, it feels like he gives it his all and he puts his heart on the line and like plays. He doesn't give up. I'm shocked at how good his competitive mentality is, considering like he doesn't get to play as many out on stage as often as some other pros. And then like you look at it, like he's bringing new things to Yoshi. Every time we look, right? Like he's making it harder and harder. Like against Fox, he's like never on the ground. Foxes want to drill shot you, so what does he do? He's just never on the ground. It's pretty awesome to see.
He moves like crazy. It kind of reminds me of like Marvel Neutral Game with how much they move around the screen. So I'm very impressed with Amsa. He got a coach, and we have to point out that he's making a remarkable effort. You mentioned this last week in improving his English. He wrote out
Yeah.
a blog in English, and I thought that was really cool, and I really love to see that from him. Speaking of Amsa's run, I have to like say like I'm every year we say this, but like I put more and more doubts into Muji King Sheik, and it's like almost worrisome that like he's losing to like the mid tiers seem to like have figured out how to like overcome Muji King like more and more every year we're seeing it.
I
Or
mean
like the
that's
mid high
kind of
tiers. Sorry,
that's
go ahead.
kind of what we've thought about Michigan's Sheik for a while. And in general, any of his non-Marth characters, is that a lot of times he just tries to abuse matchups. There's no other way to put it. Like he tries to play simple, reductive styles of play and tries to simplify matchups. Crazy thing about melee is it's got so much depth that simplifying melee is really really hard. It is really really hard to play that way. And I know he makes it look easy, but when different people show you different looks and different ways to beat your defenses, it's really hard to stay on top because you have to continually keep up with their metagame and what they're trying to do. And eventually, I mean, and Smash has proven this over time, creativity wins. Like over time, creativity usually wins because it's much better to have a creative, dynamic offense that is able to adjust to your opponent than a defense that has to stay on the reactive, stay on its heels. And as degenerative and as reductive as he tries to make some of his approach to matchups, still people find ways, and they routinely do. And I agree with you that over the last year or two, it seems to be happening in more and more matchups.
I think the big thing here is that the mid high tier characters are also hitting hard. That was like one of the big difference makers. Where like, you look at Axe in like 2016, he wasn't comboing Muti King as hard as he does now. You look at Amsa against Sheik, like he's hitting hard, and like they're not making it tough for Muti King to say, "You want to play this reductive style? Well, if I get an opening on you, I'm doing 60." Like, and
Yeah.
I think it's a mix of like Muti King needs to step it up with Sheik and innovate with his character like the other players have, but we also have to give credit to these other guys for just maximizing the combo and punish potential of those characters.
Yeah, and neutral. It should be noted. It's a mix of everything.
Yeah.
But Amsa, like he won in a fashion where we have to be honest. Like it looked dominant enough. I'm just like this guy's favored against like Michi King potentially. I'm just gonna say it. Like it just did not look like a fight that is not replicable. It didn't
Well,
look like an aberration to me at
so
all.
I'm not going to give you that Mewtwo King is not the favorite here. I think Mewtwo King is a established veteran. It would still need to be another set for me to be convinced otherwise. But if I'm a Mewtwo King fan and I see Amsa in my bracket, I'm not very comfortable with that. That's like how
Well,
I feel about.
well, Taffa, you could not give me that, but I'm telling you, that set, Michigan didn't have a game plan that worked. Like it did not look to me like a solid set. Now people are mentioning that they're 2-2 lifetime. Of course, the other set is the famous Kings of Cali set, so you can never doubt Michi King. But I think Amsa very significantly has improved his skill level. He looks a lot better now. This is the best Amsa we've ever seen by all accounts, right? Like maybe he reached a height and skill level around 2015, relatively. He's always been improving, but a height in 2015, and but now I think he's far
Yeah.
better than he used to be. So
I think in terms
um,
of going back to the drawing board, I think we both agree that Mewtwo King has to do a lot more. So if he sees Amsa in bracket, like Amsa's not going to have to adjust as much as Mewtwo King's going to have to adjust for the next time, right? But the interesting thing here is, and do we welcome Florida as our new Smash overlords? Because Winners top eight was all Florida.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's pretty commonplace, right? Like, this isn't the first tournament. What other tournament also had this happen?
I mean, I feel like Genesis was like pretty close, right? Like they
Genesis
have
was pretty
half the
close.
top eight. I feel like was like practically Florida.
Yeah. So, I mean, what can you say? You got Plup, Music King, and Hungry Box, and it's gonna happen,
And
right?
Wizzy,
And Wizzy too, right? So,
like debatably right now, depending on where you put Wizzy, four of the best players, or four of the top seven players, or eight, depending on where you put Axe, are Florida.
yeah.
Have we ever had this stacked of a region like in Melee history, where four of the top eight players are all from the same region? Like we had the one stretch where we had MDVA, but I've never seen them this stacked at the
I
top
think
top.
I think I think Melee history. The two biggest regions, the two strongest regions on a relative basis that we can think about are old school MDVA and 2014 SoCal, like something around that.
Yeah,
And I don't think those at a top level were as dominant as Florida is now. Having said that, I think on a skill curve level, they were better, right? Like on a relative basis. Like
yeah.
Florida, 20v20, you don't even know what's the best region right now, or 10v10. Many people would argue they're not the best region. But in a 4v4 or 5v5, we've never seen a more dominant region relatively. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing, if we're to look at Smash as a whole, the only thing I could think of that's as stacked as this is Brawl in Tri-State.
Yeah.
I think
2000, 2009, 2010,
like when they had
Tri-State
literally like
and
six
Brawl.
of like the top 10 players or something ridiculous. I think that's the
Yeah.
only time we've seen something more stacked. But that's insane. Like for Big House Crews, like I think SoCal loses by at least four stocks if they play again.
The thing is, big house crews are small crews. So, I mean, numbers would lend you believe that as well. But I mean, SoCal won that one time, and numbers that weren't on their side either. They were just clutch.
Yeah, I mean, or
Um,
more like we were less choky than Muti King that tournament.
yeah.
And Muti King threw that. It was
Yeah,
literally.
it was quite bad. It was quite bad. So that helped. That helped. And also like Mac D was clutch and like tons of stuff happened. So against Europe, if you remember the prof stock. Dude,
Ooh.
I love regional crew battles. I'm such a fan.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody's in it because like everybody feels like they're a part of the experience. You have your home region rooting for you. I think it's one of the best crew formats, or the best way you can like divvy up players.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I think we have to give some props to Canada. I mean, Legend made it to top 16. He defeated La Luna, so that was a pretty big surprise. Actually, debatably, I don't know. A lot of people
Dude, he
are,
sucks against Puff. What are you talking about? We should have called it. Honestly, like we just didn't think about it. That one was like I think that was a relatively easy prediction to make.
but that was in losers. We didn't know if that bracket was going to go that
Oh,
way.
that's why we thought. Who did Moon lose to? Wow, who did Moon? What had happened to you, bro?
We anticipated a bad Moon performance.
Oh,
Remember, we were like La Familia, Mexico. He beat
oh
KGH.
yeah. No, we called he would do poorly. We called he would lose to Axe. So no, we could have predicted it, man.
Yeah, yeah,
So
you're right.
we just missed it. We just missed that he had a puff.
I mean, he would have. He, I think we would have anticipated him having Trillium. I think we were like, oh, Falco, it should be doable, but he ended up getting
Yeah.
Legend. Ryan Ford, top eight. Good stuff to him. I always love it when like the home favorite players like get to perform in front of their audience. Unfortunately, lost to SFAT, got cut off. Other than that, do you have any other like interesting things? I mean, we could talk about doubles a little bit. PewFat second, Plup Muti King first. Kind of what we expected, though Axe and Amsa did take a set off of SFAT and PewPew. Any other surprises you really?
I think the rise of Plup Music King needs to be noted, right? Like first Genesis, now this. Like, dog, are they the best team in the world?
Um, I would give it to them, but I wouldn't say they're so dominant that like Armada Android can't come back and win.
Like we had like the Three Kings era with Ice Leffen and Armada Android and PewFat, and now it's like I'm really curious who the best team in the world is because it's looking like it's Plup Music King.
We see Plup Muti King number one. I'm not sure if we got to see an Armada Android set the last time. I mean, I think didn't Chew and Hungrybox eliminate them last time, like double eliminate them.
Chew HBox, secret dark horse. They're also good. So like I think like teams is turning into like a 5-team thing in its own way. I want to see more of Chew HBox to really include them in that bunch, but and of course Ice Leffen is not as much of a thing anymore. Maybe he'll come back, but
I was tempted to type, but I remember your message.
I know Tafo.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did know. Stop it.
I'm bringing a normal keyboard next time.
Okay, good. A membrane.
Okay.
The one advantage of membrane keyboards is
Okay.
podcast.
Do you want to move on to the Arcadian, the National Arcadian?
Sure. Let's talk about National Arcadian. We'll talk about NorCal Arcadian for a little bit too.
So can I rub it in your face about predictions?
On the National Arcadian? Wait, did you win the little bet thing?
Dude, 3 of my 4 players made it to winner semis.
No way.
Michael, a rookie, and Mr. LZ.
I'm sad I didn't get rookie. But dude, Netplay Warriors, never doubt them.
Oh,
never doubt the Netplay Warriors.
Can we point out the number of Jigglypuffs that were in this bracket towards the end?
There was Michael and who else?
Isn't Fizzle Boy one too?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Fizzle Boy.
And
He made hella far. He got fucking third.
Dudusai. There's like at least like 4 pups I feel like that were in this bracket. Michael.
Dudusai, old school though,
SoCal floundered. They eliminated each other. Shouts to Smash Daddy beating Wieners and East Coast Chef.
Yeah. Oh, my boy Wieners. He could have done better. Is all I gotta say. But he tried.
But it's pretty impressive. Michael didn't drop a single game.
I know SoCal is pulling their pitchforks out for Vro because all of SoCal ended up fighting each other in losers.
Yeah. Well, Vro's not going to come to SoCal and get bullied.
Yeah, no bully, guys.
No bullying.
Shouldn't have been in losers in the first place. What about that?
Exactly, man. So your boys so if we're gonna run back the draft, because I'm gonna gloat, this is my moment. Michael and Mr. LZ were my 2 picks. They finished at number 1, number 2. A rookie got 5th, and Cobb, my worst pick, got 9th.
What were my picks? How badly did I perform?
Bananas, who got 7th, was one of your picks.
Can you admit that that's absurd? How did he get 7th?
Bananas! He got Jigglypuffed. Bunk got 25th.
Oh my god.
East Coast Jeff got 17th. And 42nd also got 17th.
Can I also tell you something, Tafo?
What?
Eye test doesn't work with players I don't watch. I don't watch these guys. I pick based on one thing only, these beautiful eyes. How am I supposed to know how good these guys are if I don't watch them?
I'm sorry, man.
This is not right.
I'm looking forward to getting In and Out with you, where you pay for my In and Out.
What? We never agreed to this.
We agreed to dinner. Hey, I said In and Out. I could have easily made it a lot worse.
All right. I'm just gonna dodge you for a while until you forget. That's my strat now.
That's gonna be impossible, man.
Yeah.
We're eventually gonna have a bachelor's party.
Can you at least do it during an event so I can expense it, and then Jeff Bezos can pay for it? That's the way I like to think about it.
It's literally $6 for an In-N-Out, Blur.
That's $6. That's too rich for my blood, dude. Bezos can afford it.
Okay, we're gonna thank you, Twitch. Thank you, Twitch. Yeah. All right, NorCal Arcade. On the bright side, at least your boy Bunk won doubles. If there's any consolation.
Why did that count? Everyone knows I'm a doubles aficionado. That should be what counts.
I'm sorry, man. I don't know what to say, man.
Okay, so the NorCal Arcadian, meanwhile, was also this weekend, and we said what? Waveberg and Aslo were the only ones who can win. I think we said one more person, didn't we? Or did we say those two?
I think we may have mentioned Kevbot as a possibility.
as a possibility, but we pretty much were like these guys can win.
Yeah, this
And
is one of those tournaments where it was seeded and there's clearly a top tier of like players.
yeah. Wavering didn't actually even make finals. Rimo did. Pretty impressive. This was a rare Arcadian moment where we had Spacey's grand finals. That never happens. This might be the first Arcadian that I can think of that was Spacey v Spacey. Like, that just doesn't happen.
I mean,
Usually, Arcadians are where the Donkey Kong players win, or like some Luigi wins, or something like something wacky and zany comes out that just takes the tournament.
that execution test. You know, actually, let's even look at. You know, I'm actually gonna look at the other Arcadian to see like what the top 8 was. I think Mr. LZ might have been one of the few Spaceys in top 8. In fact, he. So like, we had Michael, who's a Puff, Mr. LZ, who plays Fox, Fizzle Bay Boy, who's mostly a Puff man.
Mr. L's isn't a Marth?
Oh no, he's a Marth. He's a Marth.
Yeah, what are you talking about? See, I watch these people.
I feel like he has a side Fox that I remember. Oh no, he's a Marth. He beat Plup with Marth.
He's a Marth.
Fizzle Boy is a Jigglypuff. Real Thing, I believe, is a Falco player. He did that sick combo on FD. Did you see that combo? It was like if you had it.
No, I didn't see it.
Reeve is a Marth. A Rookie's a Mario. Bananas is an Ice Climbers. And is Morse Code a Falco? They're all like execution test characters. Like if you mess up and you slightly miss and you get grabbed, you're dead. Or if you get spot dodge shined. So you're onto something with that.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. It's the wacky characters that win usually, but Azel, man, that guy is pretty fucking good. I'm gonna be real. He is extremely good. I'm shocked Wavering didn't even make finals. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little shocked by that. But Rimo, shouts to him. You know, they out here in the NorCal Arcadian, so that's hype. I really want SoCal to have another Arcadian soon. Those are always exciting.
We should actually talk about it. I mean, Arcadians originated in SoCal, so let's talk a little bit about Arcadian history.
Yeah, matter of fact, let's talk about it. So I believe the name Arcadian came from
Mango.
Mango, yeah, it's a Mangoism because they started calling the high-level power rank people Spartans and the lower-level guys Arcadians, right? I don't really like this terminology very much on a personal basis because F the Spartans.
It actually was from the movie 300.
I know, and I hate 300. What a horrible movie. But so that's where the original name came from. Kira and DJ Mirror, as he was known at the time.
That's
also,
a name that I haven't heard in like forever.
That's the homie, dude. He's also a top King of Fighters player. If you guys don't know that. They set up the first Arcadian. And back then they let ranked players enter, but with like their secondaries. So like MacD, Zelda, and I think Zeus Pikachu went far in the first early Arcadians.
No, actually, MacD was unranked that one, and he got bopped.
Oh, okay, good.
That was the one where he got like arrested 8 times by Boss.
All right, good to know. Boss
Yeah.
is a local puff in SoCal, old school guy. And that's where it actually started, right? And I think they ran 2 Arcadians, and then it actually like wasn't brought back for another like 6+ years. Like it's actually a super successful idea at the time, and it wasn't brought back until 6 years later. Your boy in SoCal repopularized it. I think Santi won that one. That was like the first Arcadian in the modern era, and it was also the first Arcadian that like kind of went to show like just how much more popular Arcadians are on an entrant basis than a standard tournament. And so once other TO saw that, it started spreading to other regions, and now it's just like a regular thing. Everyone does like multiple, like usually like about twice a year per region, I think. And so super good idea originally by DJ Mirror and Kira, and I think it's like just an awesome format and teaches you a ton of lessons about community building and what people really want out of an event. I could go into a whole spiel about it, but
Yeah.
but in general, like Arcadians are really speak to what and why people play Melee.
I mean, NorCal's, their locals, are a little bit on this. I mean, they're not hitting the potential I think they should for a region like NorCal. But those Arcadians, man, they get like 200 plus every time.
Yeah, yeah, every time. Arcadians generally get somewhere of 3x to 5x the average local attendance, right? Like they are always way, way bigger than a regular tournament, even when they're frequent. So SoCal had a period where they had an Arcadian, like sometimes more than one in a weekend, because TOs were just not like they didn't care. They just wanted to host Arcadians to get you more entrants. And even when you do that, more people still enter, right? Like even when you regularly do it, like if it's as every weekend is an Arcadian, which I don't recommend for regions, by the way, at least the way we're currently structured. Those tournaments will still be more participated than a regular event. So just kind of goes to show it, right?
It's pretty cool. I mean, I think in the old days when locals were like 20 people, like they weren't needed, but it kind of reflected the really niche need for our community when our locals started expanding, and you had like not just like four people going 0 and 2 or like 1 and 2 or whatever, but you had like 40 people going like 0 2 1 2 2 2. You never really figured out like who really stood out because they would lose their first round to someone good, and then they'd lose in like the losers round 3 to someone good. So it's always a nice opportunity to see more reps from the up and coming players. Um, let's see. So Arcadians, SoCal idea, SoCal best region.
Mm. So that'd be dope. Yeah, Arcadians are nuts, man. I'm really happy that we at least have a middle ground solution to give people this need. Obviously, I think someone like Azel is honestly too skilled to be really like. I think winning an Arcadian in a region like NorCal, you're pretty freaking good, in my opinion, right? I would love to see more tests at different skill levels to really grow the scene. But
I feel like
either way, it's really good for the scene.
I feel like if you're like a mid to large size region and you win an Arcadian, like the only thing that's probably stopping you from making top 100 is the fact that you probably don't travel that much if you haven't made top 100.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with the scene, right? Is in general the top 30 players travel, and then the rest can't because they can't afford it. So that's not uncommon to see. I'm sure Azel would be top 100 if he traveled more.
So speaking of large locals, do you want to go to next weekend's extravaganzas?
I shouldn't say I'm sure he would be top 100 because top 100 is pretty hard to get. But
I mean, yeah, he's like on the cusp. If you had like some good brackets, like I could see him getting like a 33rd at Evo or 49th, and like some like 33rds and 25ths here and there if you get some favorable brackets.
And I'm sure he would get better in the process, and therefore just get it from that.
Yeah. Shall we talk about this upcoming weekend's events?
Sure.
It's kind of nuts. Although you did correct me earlier today. 474 entrants for the Mango.
It's pretty good.
So if it's not an Arcadian, I guess you get your local god to run an event.
So that is it's a 2-day event, right?
No, it's just a 1 day on Sunday.
Okay, so it's a 1-day event. Does that make it? It's the biggest 1-day event of all time, I believe, right? Because it's bigger than Blood for Blood. No, it's not bigger than Blood for Blood. So it's the second biggest 1-day event of all time.
Damn. How big was Blood for Blood?
Blood for Blood was 502 attendees, 443 menacing.
Okay, we just gotta beat it. So we're gonna make a massive push and say we gotta beat the Blur.
All you gotta do is pay people to enter. Go on the streets and get a few people, or just enter in fake names. You can always do the Juggle Guy scumbag tactics. Back in the day, in like 2012 or whatever, me and Juggle Guy we competed over who had more 100+ tournaments every year. It was really unfair looking back at it because I was in SoCal and he was in Michigan.
Yeah, what
but
the hell?
I'd always win. So is the end result though. But we tried, and the way he tried to keep up, I swear to you, that my man was scumming it up, dude. I swear to you, he would have 99, and he would just somehow someone was sneaked in. How am I supposed to know if it's true or not?
Hey, he was like #1 on the grind PR in Michigan, right?
He's a grimy guy. What can you say?
Dude, you guys. For those people at home that don't know what we're talking about with the grind PR, look up Michigan grind PR, and you'll find a Smashboards thread that's legendary, going over all the grievances of which each individual member has produced grime in their Smash history. MDVA's is also top tier. So MDVA's grind PR and Michigan grind PR are your golden legendary Smashboards threads. So Slime, if you're here and you're looking for old, awesome Smashboards threads, those are the ones you go to.
Yeah. Those are a trip down memory lane. Let me tell you that.
They're actually really funny to read.
Yeah, I love them. Okay, so this event is one of those classic events where no gods, but it has like a lot of the people who are the best of the rest.
I keep telling Mango that he has to enter.
He's been playing on his stream and been playing pretty well. So I think he'd do all right. Like he doesn't need to worry about his skill right now. I think he'd just win.
No, I just wanted him to get tournament reps before full bloom. Like you know how like when you don't play tournament sets for a while, you have to kind of get used to it again. I need him to run tournament sets, so I'm gonna try to do my best. But speaking of gods, Plup is commentating.
Oh, Plup's gonna be there.
Yeah, he's a commentator.
Wow, is there a reason, by the way, that he's commentating instead of playing?
Because Mango wanted him for commentary.
Instead of playing?
Yeah.
So this is like purposely done so that it's like a best of the rest tournament.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't intentionally like that. Mango has no structural idiots. I mean, it's just whatever Mango wants.
No, I think he probably did do it on purpose. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Poor Sfat, you're not a god.
Yeah. He's not good enough. It's not like it's guaranteed he wins it. It's not even close. He's got like a slight percentage lead over everyone else, but it's not by much.
I'm just kind of wondering like who are these like 474 entrants, cuz like it's not a top heavy tournament. Like
yeah.
Like there's like 40 like solid players, maybe 50, and then you have 420 other people where you're just kind of like, scratching your head and be like where are these people coming from? It's actually
what do you mean where are these people coming from? It's SoCal.
Yeah, but like where are they? Where do they normally reside? Why aren't they
in Southern California, Tevkins? They live in the Southern California region, usually surrounding Long Beach, California.
That's fair. I heard
that's literally where they reside.
That's fair.
I don't think it's very weird for a Smash tournament in SoCal to get 429 entrants. That's not. I mean, look, I'm not saying it's not impressive. It's the second largest one day we've ever had, but like this is pretty par for the course for a large SoCal tournament. Personally, so I mean, I want them to do more of these, obviously. So God bless, and I think it's dope, but I'm not gonna like use it as a signal of like. This is an aberration or anything like that. This is pretty par for the course.
But like when I'm looking at this, it's a 470 man event, and I'm looking at like, okay, let's do some analysis on like who's going to win. And pretty much this feels like a SoCal tournament with like a little bit of NorCal, and for whatever reason, Swedish Delight's here.
Swedish Delight's there, yeah. I mean, it's a good tournament to go to. Honestly, it's like it's you can spend the weekend in SoCal. Like one day they're kind of fun. They're usually a little long. Because like, you have to do everything all in one day. But you can spend the other day. You can spend the Saturday in SoCal and chill and stuff. You get a lot of good reps in with your practice, and it's before full bloom, and everyone's been looking for full bloom for like 2 months now. So, it lets people practice up before the big event.
I mean, that's fair. So I'm not really in the mood to do an analysis of like who's going to place top.
Yeah, I don't want. In fact, I'm like, in general, I wonder how compelling some of those conversations usually are.
This one's particularly not compelling. I'm pretty sure we could see similar results from Nimbus, although SCG is not at Nimbus tonight for whatever reason.
Yeah, so I think let's just skip that. One thing I find funny to before we move on is Frodan is teaming with Swedish Delight. I saw that.
They're the Hearthstone buddies.
I guess they're Hearthstone buddies. Dude, Frodan just high rolled his way into a top teammate. Well played, Dan. Well played. That's pretty freaking funny.
Dude, I need to find a partner.
Yeah, I guess you do.
Ooh, I wonder if Fiction wants a team.
That's a good one. That would be a good one to get.
Let's see. There's Fiction and Mike Hayes.
Captain Jack is team with MacD?
Yeah. Did you see that conversation on Facebook?
No, no, no. Tell me about it.
So Captain Jack was like, "I'm going to the Mango. I need a teammate." And then MacD just responds like, "Oh, okay. I think I'll have fun with you. Let's team." And then Captain Jack was like, "Okay."
Of course, he was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing for him. So that's
Dude. It's Oh my gosh. I really want Captain Jack to get good. I know a lot of people are posting that he like could he get top 50 in the year. This guy's like 1 and 2 in NorCal locals, so he's still got quite the journey.
I think you're overstating his. You're understating his skill right now. But obviously,
The road to get to like who's like 50 right now.
I mean, again, we have to be complete, open, and honest on the show. I am a doubter. I don't think even in like a year and a half we'll see him in top 100 level. I think it's extraordinarily long road for him.
It's a very long road.
So I'll admit I'm a doubter, but this is one of the greatest players of all time. So my general tenet for that is you're one of the greatest players of all time. You're gonna be good long term, but he's just like he's one of the goats, but from like a really really far away era. He's got a lot of years on him now between now and then, and this might be the exception because he's just got so many years in between when he was actually good and now that I don't know, catching up is gonna take a while.
It's a rough road. A lot of people who try to come back after their like mini retirements realize that the road to the top is a lot harder than it was when they first quit.
Yeah, but I mean at the same time, like it's even people from the old school, like I said when Ken came back, he came out pretty good, you know, and that's mostly because he stopped in like '08, right? Stopping in '08 is very different than when Jack stopped, right? When did Jack stop? Like '06, like '07, something like that.
I mean, that was like his like last hurrahs in like Europe, right? When he was playing like the Armada.
His main period of dominance and skill was like '05 and stuff.
But you know,
he stopped. They're saying he stopped in '08, but like he wasn't super relevant by then. You know what I'm trying to say?
He beat pre-Genesis Armada, who was still leveling up.
Yeah.
He's one of the like 2 people that have a positive record on Armada in the world.
Oh, he still has. He should make sure to dodge that match forever.
I think Jack is like 2-0. I would like to say, and Silent Spectre is 1-0.
Yeah.
So like we're always seeding them so that they never have to play Armada.
Yeah. Let's make sure of it.
I mean,
so anyway, I mean, okay, maybe his. Maybe I forgot I mixed my years up, but either way, he wasn't super relevant by '08 time. It was mostly like a swan song, like you said. He was definitely not even the best in Japan by that point. Having said that, like, I guess a 10-year gap. We'll see if he can do it. You know, when Ken came back, he was dealing with like a 5-6 year gap, right? 10-year gap will be crazy.
Yeah, it's just like.
And it feels more like a 12-year gap because he really wasn't super relevant since like '06.
Yeah. I mean, I would still say like he's probably like a top 30-ish player in like '08.
Yeah, I mean, so.
But who knows? It's been like at least like 10 years. You know, speaking of which, you know, for all the Captain Jack doubters, like there's a recent article that highlighted the top 20 most influential, like most legacy players, and Captain Jack made it into the top 20. So for those people
as he should. You know, like that's obviously just a true fact. Yeah, so I don't want to be. I'm just happy to have him back.
Okay.
Always nice to see one of the greats come back. Like you got to be happy about it. So I'm rooting for him. What a story it would be if he actually pulls it off, especially at his age. So I'm super rooting for him. I just hope he's patient with it.
I mean, he's a great dude, you know, like enthusiastic. I mean, those are the type of people we always want in the community.
Yeah, so keep an eye out on him, though, for the next, like, year or so. Just keep an eye out, because you never know. Greatness is what greatness does.
So Edwin's been, like, low-key, like, begging for a commentator's curse today because he wants to shamelessly plug himself about Smash history. And I figure, you know what? He's been so persistent. We should probably entertain it. 5 people left on the countdown. Numbers 6 through 10 have been revealed. What's our order? I know you did a little bit of a discussion with this on Hugs, so we don't have to make it as comprehensive. But what's our
Yeah.
order? I mean, starting from the top, I think it's pretty obvious. We should just get that out of the way. I think the more dicey ones come with 3 to 5. I think we agree. Armada number one, Mango number two. I think that's pretty set in stone.
Yep. Armada Mango is your three HBox or Ken?
This is where it is tough for me. I think Mutant King is number five.
Yeah, Mewtwo King's
So
completely fine.
we'll continue on Mutant King.
So three, four is those two.
Yeah, that's the controversial one. So the reason why, I mean, I think we mentioned this last week, is that on consistency, Mutant King, and longevity, Mutant King, 10 out of 10, right? When you compare his longevity to everybody else, one of the best. Unfortunately,
Sure.
when you get to a certain point where longevity, you can only max out on that stat so much and have it improve your resume. And that's where Mutant King is. He's forever capped until he can have strings of dominance that extend beyond his short stint in '08. So that's why I can never put Mutant King higher than Ken until he passes that threshold.
Yeah, pretty much. So do you have HBox or Ken as number three? That's like the only question within the top five, in my opinion. There's no other relevant question.
Okay. So I'll present my arguments. And so initially, if we went a year ago, I think I would have picked Ken higher. And I wouldn't have had any much qualms about it.
So your answer is HBox.
Yes.
Okay.
I think given his last year and what he's been doing collectively, and like the fact that he's very similar with Mutant King in terms of longevity, like he's been a top five player since '09. So now he's a full decade of being a top five player, and on top of that, he's been winning a lot more events than Mutant King has, and he has periods where he's finished in number one. And I think the flip side of the argument is, well, Ken had 3 years of continuing dominance. Doesn't that outweigh? So when I look at those things, like, do I value the 2 extra years of finishing dominantly number one, or do I look at Hungry Boxes? Yeah, he didn't quite dominate as much as Ken did, but he's also had 6 really amazing years to boot, and that's where I put Hungry Box higher.
Uh, yeah, I think it's really close. I don't think it will be close in a year or two. I'm not saying I don't think it'll be close in a year or two. I don't think it'll be a like a dead even split. Like I think you regularly see people pick Ken, and you regularly see people pick HBox at three at this point. Um, Currently, even though I'm a Ken fanboy, I think I'm ready to put HBox at three. Even if I think it'll become less of a discussion in a year, but I think I'm ready for it. You have to look at it like some of his premier wins are extremely impressive, and some of his premier runs are extremely impressive. And his current period of dominance is really good. Obviously, this is not as dominant as Ken. Ken will always have the greatest prime of all time, except for the Crimson Blur. He dominated the game at a higher level than everyone else did. And HBox, you could knock him for being like a lower tier god, which is like he was one of the gods, but he was generally like lower performing than like Armada Mango for many years. So you can knock him for that, or you could say, you know what, that's 6 years of being a top five player, and that's amazing no matter what you say. And I think that's usually where I lean, especially since he eventually figured it out,
Yeah.
right?
And not to
So
add to that, like Hungry Box was a premier god in 2012 and also 2013, and he was debatably. I mean, I think he was like probably number one in 2010. That one
yeah.
year that Armada couldn't seem to win a major and Mango was kind of taking a back seat. So he's had two kind of one light era of being the best, and now he's currently the best.
Does any? I'm trying to find the. So we both think HBox actually. That's actually pretty drastic to say.
There's another controversial one, and I think Challenge, being one of the advocates of this player that was revealed, and being a Marth main and also from MDVA, I'm just kind of curious what you thought about the whole Ppmd versus azen at I believe number 6 and number 7.
So they had PP above azen, right?
I believe so. I think they had PP at 6 and azen at 7.
Before we talk about that, I think Chew below Leffen's actually pretty controversial too.
That's like an argument of like peaks versus consistency, right? In longevity.
Kind of. Are we sure? Is Leffen's peak higher than Chu's peak ever was? Chu was second in the world, right?
I mean, he literally got like second at like every tournament that one MLG year, right?
Yeah, like you'd have to think that for sure the couple months that Leffen was like that what the Fox era, you know what I'm talking about? Like you'd have to think that that is better than peak Chu, and I don't think it's like that far of a difference. And I think, I mean, obviously his Gommel win is better than I think anything Chu's ever done. His Gommel win is one of the best wins of all time. Leffen's Gommel win.
Yeah, yeah.
So like you have to give him that for sure. But Chu just destroys him in longevity by like a long, long shot, right? Like Chu beats everyone in longevity, of course. But like I don't think the difference in peak between Chu and Leffen is like very. It's not very large.
I think
and he's got like 10 years on him. Like he's got a lot more there.
So I have to agree with you. I think the big issue I had with Leffen is, yeah, he won the CEO, he won What the Fox, he won Gommel, but you know, when we look at the biggest events of the year, the big houses, the Evos, and the Genesis, he's never really quite showed up, and let alone like. Has he made a grand finals at like Evo? He hasn't made a grand finals at Evo, like one of the biggest tournaments of the year. He never made a grand finals at Genesis, and at Big House he hasn't really had really good performances there either. So when all the cards are on the table for the events that we think are the biggest, Leffen has been nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. So I would a point of screaming I would make is I think Chu is number 8, and I think Leffen is number 9.
And we also have to consider this. For every large tournament we have here in that era, like there were so far less tournaments in that era for like the gods of 06 and 05 and 07 to just accumulate these like super major wins.
Yeah. I mean like it's not like Chu's results of recent like in the last like 2 years have been anything like he's been adding to his legacy like 10 years after his prime, right? So I still think like I value that a lot. Like I think that's one of the most impressive accomplishments we've seen in competitive gaming.
The fact that he was debatably number 6 in like a year ago.
Yeah, the fact that he's still in the conversation that far removed from his prime is like literally something we haven't seen before, like across any game, like ever in any esport. So like I value that a lot, and I think that's a massive accomplishment. For Chu. So I think Leffen has accomplished some more to pass up Chu, and it's weird to me that people are saying that Leffen's the reason to pick Leffen more is because of his prime over Chu, when it's like you can't definitively say Leffen was ever best in the world, right? Yeah. And that's what you would knock Chu at. Leffen's Chu's prime was second best in the world. You could even argue that Leffen was never really second best in the world for an entire year ever either, So you can argue that Chu's prime was better than Leffen's in so many ways.
Yeah.
So, what is the highest yearly rank that Leffen's ever gotten on a year, right? Like on an SSBM rank.
I mean, I think he was high on a summer, like.
But summer is just Tafo making the numbers, right?
No, I do a panel.
You do poll? Okay.
So his highest was summer 2015, where he finished 3rd. So the highest he's ever finished was 3rd.
3rd, so, right? And Chu had a full year at 2nd.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like, I think you'd be hard pressed. You'd have to argue his prime is better than Chu's, and you'd have to like really, really talk about that summer. You'd have to talk that summer up a lot. And even if you did that, like. You'd argue he's got a slight edge in peak, and then you lose the longevity argument by a lot. So but I don't
know. So to be fair to Leffen's case, like that 2015 was incredibly close between him and $100. Like for number 2, Armada clearly number 1 that year. Like literally like killed that year. But it was actually a really close debate between Leffen and $100 because Leffen won a bunch of events more than $100. It was just like Leffen got like a few like bloopers, and panelists valued consistency slightly higher. But Leffen could have made a case for 2nd that year.
Sure.
But nonetheless, you are right. I think they have very similar peaks, and like left and Chu kills it in longevity. I think the biggest what is, and it's unfortunate that a lot of our top players, I think somebody actually pointed it out, is that most of our top players had something that prevented them from like being as dominant as they could have. Like if you look at the top 10, unfortunately the MLG era died, so a lot of people quit. Leffen's visa issues, PPMDs, mysterious illnesses, Armada taking a retirement. Like everybody, a lot of these players had like a bunch of things that roadblocked them from like continuing and being more dominant than they actually are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think Leffen's story is over yet, and I don't think Chu's story is over yet either. So it'll be really interesting to see, because they're jockeying for that spot. That's pretty cool. Again, it's awesome that we live in a world where our game this is like a genuine ranking. Like you only see this stuff in like established sports. Esports usually an all-time ranking is kind of silly, right? But our game's old enough that it's a genuinely interesting discussion.
Dude, how many games can we honestly say like make these lists for? It's actually impressive that we're at that point where we can start.
So Brood War, Melee. Like you could make the list for any game, I suppose. You could start making the list for League of Legends because it's 7 years old, right?
Yeah, I mean Marvel 2, I guess.
Yeah, but not really. Like the game was like had like 6 years of like actual peak competitive play, and then like not. It's been like sporadically put in as an exhibition ever since, right? Like maybe 5 years of peak competitive play. You could make a list, but it's just not as interesting.
I think Marvel 2.
It's not generational, right? It's not generational.
We're creating a Marvel 2 all-time list, and I'm going to start off by naming number 1, Justin Wong.
That is the correct number 1. But yeah, people were saying Counter Strike if you combine the games. You don't have to combine the games if you're just talking about the original Counter Strike. So yeah, that could be another one you could do. Dota is now old enough, like as a series. Ever since the Warcraft 3 days that you could do a full list. So yeah, a few esports. I think our list is obviously the most complete because we've been active.
We have the most data points out of like most esports. Yeah. Hey, we'd potentially have a Smash player on the top 100 Warcraft 3 list.
Do we? What?
Nick M. Whittier. He was like the US's best human player. NMW.
That only makes him top 100.
Well, because it was Asia European dominated. We were like one of the worst regions in.
Huh. Good to know. Okay, so you're asking about PP versus azen, right?
Yeah.
Geez, that's a tough one. PP azen's really close. What do you think?
This is one of those things where, like I mentioned earlier, like both players had issues that came up that like kind of hindered like the moments where they were the best. I know Chillin advocated for 6 for azen. One thing that really stood out that most people don't mention was azen's head-to-heads in that 05-06 year. Like granted, like Ken kind of had his number, but azen was so dominant against like PC, against Chu, against Korean DJ.
Like more dominant than Ken was.
Yeah,
and that should be mentioned.
It was just kind of funny that like the best player. It seems like if you had a round robin for every MLG, azen would have been the best that year.
Yeah, and I think neither of them have a great longevity argument over the other. They played for I think roughly the same relative period of time. Azen really was out of the scene fully like in 09 ish. I think that was like the Zenith or something, that it was one of his last tournaments.
He was like a top 2, top 3 player for most of like 02 to 06, 07 even.
Yeah, so. Roughly the same period of like I think overall their career arcs aren't that dissimilar. The one thing you could say about PPMD is there is a period of time you could have argued he's the best, and azen though you could also say that there's 2 separate periods of time where you could argue azen was the best. Right, TG6 era, and after his comeback on Ken, after the MLG Orlando era, like that kind
like Orlando, New York.
Orlando, New York, back to back, and both have extremely good like peak tournaments. The New York playoffs 2006 for azen is arguably the greatest run of all time, arguably the best tournament run of all time. It's up there for sure. And then PP, of course, has really good tournament wins, notably Apex 2015
and 2014 too.
and 2014. Pound 5 was also freaking amazing. So he's got some crown jewels of his own. So not dissimilar careers, both, but like as his crown jewels are really good, like really similar. So I think like this one is like, frankly, a toss up to me. You could argue either. It's really really close.
I think, yeah, you're not wrong. Like, I think what sucks about these kind of debates is just because one person like picks one over the other, it doesn't really highlight how close or how wide the decision was, right?
Yeah, these guys like if you really break it down, and they both play Marth too. If you and they both play Falco. Um, if you really break it down, they had like almost identical careers in so many ways, right? Like in terms of what they, um, like the total career arc. So very very similar, and whichever one you pick, you have to understand that it's extremely close. It's extremely
So for
close.
me, I would have to give the slight nod to Azen.
Yeah.
Mainly because in most stretches, like PP had the moments where you could put him at number one. I just
Yeah.
think consistently through the careers, you would put Asin closer to number one or like number two than PP was in most of his like godhood career.
That's true. I think like even as is like later tail period. I think the one thing that's different about these guys is when PP stopped, it felt like he stopped like when he's pretty much on top. You know what I mean? Whereas when Azen stopped, it was like a tapering off of activity.
Yeah.
But neither of them, even when Azen was stopping, it wasn't because he was losing. It just Brawl came out. That's kind of all that happened with Azen. Brawl came out, so he stopped. People in general stopped caring about Melee, and so did he. Um, so it's really hard. It's hard to say like either of them ever really got defeated, because Azen was so still in the conversation right before the brawl, right? Like he was still like, you could still be like, hey, I take him to win the tournament at any tournament he entered, in that era.
So
Um, I, I have a very hard time picking this one. If you put a gun to my head, I think
you can't even say Marth bias at this point because they both play Marth.
I both love. I love both these guys. Azen was an inspiration for me, and so
I
Kevin
mean,
is
yeah,
like a
if
homie.
you want a tiebreaker, I beat Asin in tournament, so you have to go PP.
You beat that. Okay, let's pick PP then. No, on a serious, I want to make an actual choice here.
Yeah. Well, you heard my choice. I went first this time.
I think I'll give the I'll do PP. Maybe just to be different than you, but I'll do PP because I think the trio of Pound, Apex is better by a very slim margin over Orlando, New York playoffs, GG6. Um, Not a large margin, but I think slightly better in that respect. And the rest of their careers are pretty much the same. So I'll do PP. I really hope his story is not done because he definitely doesn't have that spot solidified. There's six is pretty much a toss up.
Yeah, it's really close. And I think the fortunate thing is that between the two, PPMD is more likely to return to like a top 10 level than Asin is at this point in time.
Honestly, Az could do it. Like Az is one of those guys who's so naturally talented. Like I would never doubt him. If you play Az in any video game, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
but like at this current
That
point in
dude's
time,
nuts.
at this current point in time, who's more likely to get to top 10 first? Although it brings its own kind of set of questions on whether or not PPMD can have enough health to.
Yeah, there's that. Also, I mean, no one likes to say it, but it's been a while. PP, it's 3 years. 3 years is a lot too. We're starting to rack up the years in terms of how every year it gets a little bit harder for him to come back. So, sure, it's been a while for Adson, but it's also been a while for PP. So, yeah.
Speaking of longevity, I'm gonna pour a 40 for Chillin. He's had such a storied career. Like he's been in melee from like literally 01, 02 to 2017.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you want, we can go and go down the list and talk about the rest of it. But
I kind of don't.
Yeah, me too.
But
Because that would take forever. But it's a great article to check out. Like even if you agree disagree with some of it, end of the day, it's an awesome discussion to have.
and
Because
actually, and it provides a framework, right? Because I think one of the annoying things is like, oh, like your list sucks. Like everyone, like it's hard. It's like 20 times harder to make a list than to critique someone else's list and tell them that their list sucks.
yeah, for sure. So thank for the effort, you guys, for putting that all together because it's really awesome to talk about. And yeah,
Okay. Well, speaking of debate, this nicely leads us into our next topic, this or that, our third edition. And this week, unfortunately, we only have 4 topics for you guys of comparison, as opposed to our usual 5. So if you guys are interested in having us, the Crimson Blur and Applicants, debate on different topics that are pertinent to current event news regarding Melee, then go ahead and give us a tweet in the future. So this or that, number 1, Zane or the Moon right now?
Zane.
But Zane, isn't he just a Fox Falco Spacey Slayer?
No, I don't think that's true. I mean, I think Moon's neutral is better. But first off, being a space slayer is pretty good in modern melee. Let's get that straight. That's not an insult. But I think. I mean, I think we talked about this just like last week. But after EGLX, his heart is picking. Neither had great tournaments, but Moon had an atrocious one. So, sorry, I can't pick Moon right now.
Do we even see the possibility that in like 3 months Moon can overtake Zane, or do we just see Zane just overrunning?
No, he can absolutely overtake him. Moon just needs to get his ass out of Mexico for a little bit, and then he'll be all right.
So I guess at this point it's actually pretty impressive that with PPU like not having any kind of I think PPU is out of the running for best Marth main, best Marth solo Marth main.
Maybe he just needs to go to tournaments. He's going to the Mango, right?
Zane?
No, Pew Pew.
He is, but I think by far Zane is the best Marth solo main, right? At this point.
Yeah, I think so. So I guess we'll see. I mean, I'm really curious to see how Kevin does at the Mango. Like, is he going to make top 8? I'd love to know.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And PPU actually put out a blog today saying, "Hey, like, it turns out I actually need to work on the Fox matchup, and it turns out that I actually need to be able to beat Fox players on FD." So he posted up a little blurb, and he actually worked with Zane. He's been working with Zane quite a bit on particularly the Fox matchup, and I think it's pretty reasonable to say that PPU is actually pretty solid at most other matchups. Like, he's okay against Falcon, amazing against Falco, probably the best Falco Slayer out of the Marts. He has like pretty good, matchup spread. It's just that Fox has been a killer for him. So it'll be interesting to see what PPU does in the next couple of months. So next topic of comparison, SFAT or AMSA? SFAT probably number 9, AMSA number 11. But you know what? I think a lot of people would pick AMSA over SFAT if they were in not to say SFAT did win the head-to-head, but if you said who's going to finish better, SFAT or AMSA in the future, I think a lot of people would be like, like AMSA has a good shot. What do you think?
I'm gonna say SFAT. I think he gets underrated a lot, man. My man's been putting in work for a very long time, and his body of work is better. Now, I'm not saying that AMSA won't overtake him or he's not impressive in his own way. I absolutely think that guy's legit, and I do agree that you put both of them in a tournament. My heart is saying AMSA in so many ways because that guy is a monster, especially after EGLX. But I don't want to be too recency biased, and I think SFAT overall body work, it is what it is. You got to pick SFAT.
Yeah, I think that you bring up an interesting point because we have an established person who's been at that upper echelon, and we have an up and coming player, and we don't really mention SFAT, the person who's been consistent for so long. We kind of just go like, okay, that's his thing, right? And then I think we over celebrate an upcoming player's wins. So when you're comparing 2 players that are top 10, right? If you're a top 10 player, beating a top 15 to 20 level player is no longer an upset. That's expected of you. And I feel like people are still having this AMSA's beating these people. The Mewtwo King win was very solid, but I think people are giving him a little bit too much credit for beating top 15 level players. When you're seated at 10 now, that should be normal for you. Do you agree with me there?
Yeah.
So with that being said, Offset did beat Mewtwo King.
Does Zach have what are Zach's God wins this year? Does he have any?
None. But granted, it's only been like 3 months.
And more realistically,
Wait, no, did he beat Mewtwo King too at Genesis? Was he the one that beat Mewtwo King in winners? I know Lucky beat him in
no,
losers.
Lucky did it.
What did SFAT do at Genesis? Sorry, I'm typing. No, SFAT just had the boring bracket where you beat like S2J and stuff.
Yeah, Essa hasn't done anything fantastic this year or anything. That's for sure. Well, I'm mostly basing off last year.
Let me look at SFAT's bracket. Oh no, he lost to Lucky. Okay. Okay. Well, SFAT has been Mewtwo King before. It's not like new. I'm gonna actually have to go with Amsa in this. I think. And the fact that he could beat Mewtwo King, and to me, Amsa has been both in recent months. Crush, Mewtwo King, Axe, Wizzy. Even though that last Wizzy set was 3-0. So a lot of these top 10 players, and we look at the head-to-heads, like I feel like Amsa may not be the favorite against these top 10 players every time, but when I look at like whether SFAT plays them and when Amsa plays them, like they're both not the favorite in most of these matchups, but I feel like Amsa's more likely to take those kind of sets, and that's why I'm going to pick Amsa.
That's not a bad point. I even against the top six, SFAT, I like his chances against HBox.
Do we really like it though? Like it's been
like a very small percentage chance, but probably like it more than like his Amsa's chances, right?
I think they're both pretty bad right now. Remember Nudes? Nudes was
they are
bad.
they are both through. Okay, so let's go through the list in terms of the top six. Who would you pick, Amsa or SFAT versus HBox? I would pick SFAT.
I think it's a wash. They both have like a near 0%.
But pick one.
Okay, SFAT plays Fox, so like on and off $100, I can see it.
Okay, so that Armada.
I don't see a world where SFAT ever wins.
I think they're both 0%. Let's just say no.
Okay.
Neither of them can beat Armada. Who's next? Let's say
Plup.
Mango.
Plup.
Okay, Plup. Sure, let's say Plup. Plup.
I mean, if Plup is a little bit weird because like SFAT can play Fox Sheik and it's not too bad for SFAT. But then Plup, I mean, Amsa beat him at GTX.
I'm gonna say Amsa on that one. What's SFAT's? Well, then again, there was that CEO set a while back.
I don't know what character Plup wants to play against SFAT. If literally they played Fox or Sheik Fox, like Plup, for the fact that he can beat Leffen, Mango, and Armada's Foxes and Sheik Fox, like I feel so confident right now in Plup's Sheik Fox matchup. And if they go to FD, he can just pick Samus, and like he's probably gonna bop SFAT's Fox.
Hasn't always happened that way. Zach is really good against Samus.
He's okay.
He is. No, what do you mean he's okay?
I mean, for whatever reason, he beats Duck, and every time I'm frustrated because I know Duck can play better.
Oh my god, Duck is the most disappointing player.
Duck has been so disappointing for me this year.
He's so disappointing, dude. He's so talented. He's so good. He's so smart.
I think, honestly, for now, I think Amsa does slightly better against Plup than SFAT. But I'd say SFAT could take a set too.
I would, yeah, I'd lean Amsa as well. I don't know if there's like the data supports that because again, Zach has done well in the past, but dude, Amsa versus Sheik, I like it, and I think once Plup has to go other characters, Amsa's win rate goes up. So,
and I don't even know like how well like SFAT does in Fox. It's like that guy is so hot and cold. Like,
yeah. So okay. Yeah. So we take Amsa for that. Okay, next Mango.
I'd honestly give Amsa like a better shot.
I'd also go Amsa, and then okay, what's next?
Mewtwo King.
Amsa for free.
I'll go Amsa.
Amsa free. Okay. And then
Axe.
Axe.
Axe is this is like one of the few people that SFAT does decently well against.
Yeah, but I think that matchup sucks for Pikachu.
Yeah, but Axe has won every set prior to the most recent.
No, I mean, I think Pikachu.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha.
I think Pikachu loses to Yoshi, or has a hard time. It's not easy. Maybe doesn't lose, but it's tough. Like
I mean, it's recency bias. Like I think like Axe does way better than what was shown at EGLX. Axe is one of the first two sets against him.
yeah.
Um, I think this is a toss up. I think they both can beat Axe.
This is actually pretty close. You know, when you run it down, it's actually pretty close between the two, huh?
Okay. You know, Wizzy, like SFET hasn't beaten Wizzy in like 2 years.
True, and Amsa has with less data.
Yeah. Although, like the sets that Wizzy wins, it seems pretty one-sided. Dude, I'm still so mad that we bet, and I said Wizzy was gonna 3-0 him, and then Wizzy lost.
Based on both of our picks, we're both picking Amsa.
I think we
So
are.
far.
I mean, okay, so let's run the other side of the train. Who's Amsa likely gonna lose to of like people that are worse than him? Like, is he losing to Marth? I don't.
So I think that's the thing, right? Like I think many of us, because we think Yoshi's the worst character, we predict him to get bad matchup sometimes. But that hasn't actually happened.
I mean, he lost to Bladewise, and I heard like I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's a good point.
Amsa said like Peach is a little bit difficult to play against, but like aside from that, like SFET's had some bloopers too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
And I mean, Fox has to play against Marth and against Falco and stuff. It's not like, he's necessarily guaranteed to win against the people below him.
like I think for now, like when you see Amsa against Marth, like I just can't. I just don't see a world where he loses to Marth for now. Whereas SFAT seems very open to losing to Marth.
Well, of course he is, because it's Fox versus Marth.
Yeah.
Yoshi v Marth, on the other hand, I mean, the Marths go Fox against him. It's often so.
Yeah.
Like Q does, for example. So, yeah. So I think we're both picking Amsa. I'm gonna do it. Let's do it this or that from the chat. Practical TS says Melee versus Tekken entrance at Evo. I'm taking Melee.
I'm taking Melee.
I'm taking Melee. I think interestingly though, I think Tekken might beat Wii U.
Yeah, I can see that with the fact that it's Saturday, and Wii U and Evo don't have the best relationship. I just think that Melee we last minute reg so much that like I feel like we just pick it up in the last like month.
Yeah. I also think that Wii U, like, it's probably gonna crater in the next like 8 months until the new game comes out. That's just how it usually works. Most players don't have a very good incentive to play and get better at the moment. The tippy top, know that they can't become considered best in the world because Zero will forever be considered the go to that game at this point because the new game's coming out and he was number one literally every year. So they don't really the tippy top don't have that much to fight for, frankly. And then the average player's like, well, we're never going to get good because the game's going to die in a few months because whatever timeline we think it'll take us to get good, we don't have much of it anymore. Might as well wait till the new game. So it's very likely that Wii U is going to crater, and I think it's going to be reflected in entry counts all across the scene for the next 8 or so months.
Yeah.
Apologies, tournaments that are coming up. I do think events like, let's say, Shine or SmashCon or whatever, events that are like in the interim are going to suffer as a result.
Yeah. So decent this or that. All right. We got a prediction in the future. HBox or Leffen at full bloom if they play.
HBox or Leffen at full bloom. HBox.
Damn it! I wanted to pick HBox. Seems like Leffen is too excited to play Dragon Ball Fighters. So like, I feel like he's gonna come to this event. He's gonna do poorly. And he's like, ha ha ha! Like, this is my first tournament back. I've been playing DBZ all this time. I'm not even practicing Melee. Just wait for me in the summer.
And then Edwin Budding's gonna press edit on the dock and put Chu above Leffen, and all will be right in the world.
All right, last one. Which one's a detriment to the other player? Cold weather or waiting for Wizzy?
Wizzy hasn't been that bad in the last 6 months. Like, it's been, obviously he's not good about it, but he hasn't been that bad. So I'm gonna go with the cold weather.
You're going to go with cold weather? So I think there's like a physical versus mental battle here. Although cold weather is pretty detrimental if you're a Fox man, or like a spacey. But like it's kind
Dude,
of
why do people? This stuff annoys me. Cold weather sucks for everybody. Obviously, it sucks more for non-puff, but I think cold weather just sucks for everybody.
it does. But if you're a puff, you're kind of happy. I think waiting for Wizzy is a universally frustrating thing. Like, imagine you're up 2-1 in a set, and then Wizzy disappears. He comes back. He takes his gunners. He like wipes him. And then he goes into his controller case, looks for a headset. Like the whole thing, you're just kind of waiting for him, and you're just mad the whole time because you want to play, but you're not quite sure when you're going to be able to play.
Yeah, you say that. But personally, maybe this is me personally, I think I kind of like it in a way because I just get more time to do hand warmers. I'd rather have overly warm hands than frigid cold hands.
But you could be up in a set. You could have all the momentum in the world, and then you get tilted. Like it's like, yeah, like I'm playing really well, and then all of a sudden Wizzy ices you for the next 3 minutes and doesn't let you play.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not bad, but cold weather's worse.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Wizzy. I think that mentally tilts me more than anything else. If I had to play that and I was up in a set against him, like I feel like I'd be so thrown off my game I would just lose.
All right. Is that the end of this or that?
That's the end of this or that for this week.
Sick.
Wow.
Nice.
Nice. You know, I was actually tripping out because we listened to the fans. We said we'd start early, and normally by 8:20, I'm like, like we normally have a lot more topics than this, but it's 8:20 today, and I'm like, we went through everything, and I just remembered why. We started at 6:30.
Yeah.
As opposed to 7:30.
Yeah. So, I guess we have to do questions now, huh?
Yeah.
So let's do it.
All right. I'm going to type for a little bit, which is probably going to get you mad, but I'm not sure if it'll make you wizzy.
I won't.
All right. Let me type. Oh, Juggle Guy's running a tournament. So, like, Zane is literally going to a tournament every week, it feels like. Juggle Guy's running Sweet 31 this week, and I believe Zane is going.
Nice. Dude, he's grinding, baby.
He's hungry. Young and hungry. That's what you want out of these young stars. Who's going to that event? Sweet 31 featuring Zane. So it's going to have Duck, KGH, Ginger, Dreffin. And then along with them, we also have Colbull and Zane.
Wow, Cobalt's up in Michigan, huh?
Yeah. I think Colbull also moved to Georgia, so that's why we don't really see him at CFL weeklies. I got a question for you. Michigan or non-Michigan?
What, is going to win this one?
Yeah, so for Michigan, we have Duck, KGH, and Ginger. And for non-Michigan, we have Colbull, Zane. And also Dreffin, if you want to throw him there. And Cal, I guess.
I'm going to go with non-Michigan because of Zane.
Ew, I'm going Michigan this time. Michigan.
You got Duck? You got Duck?
I let me think of the seeding here. Actually, I gotta think this through. Okay, seeding is probably gonna go with some combination of Duck and Zane, right? Number 1, number 2.
Yeah.
Oh
correct.
no, there's 2 Samus killers in this bracket.
The problem is KGH is going to beat Duck.
And Colbull can beat Duck.
And Colbull could beat Duck.
But Colbull can also beat Zane.
Can he?
And there's Dreffin. Dreffin, the dark horse that can eliminate my boy Zane. But then Dreffin can also beat Duck.
Can he?
Dreffin's had some strange streaks against Duck.
All right, man. No, it's KGH throws a wrench into the Duck plan, and the Michigan boys are going to eliminate each other.
Dude, no, they're not going to see Duck and KGH to play each other in winter semis. That's what you call rigging brackets so that the local players don't play each other.
Oh, you're right. So they're going to make Duck 1 seed, Zane 2 seed, 3 KGH, huh?
Wait, no, Duck is going Marth.
In this tournament?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. That it's free. Non-Michigan.
Okay.
I win again.
Yeah,
I win again, Tapo.
We're gonna. Damn it! You picked. Yeah. You picked a non-Michigan first. You know what? I see this Ginger guy. He has like a 3 triple-digit
Dude, he's won like 200 in a row or something like on net play. 200 net plays in a row.
Okay, you know what? No, no, screw it. Ginger's gonna win this tournament. Let's go.
Never doubt the net players, man. Michael 41 trillion prove that.
41 trillion. Is it 41 trillion or 41,000? That Ginger guy is gonna win, man.
Maybe.
And then Dreffin is gonna eliminate Zane, and Ginger's gonna whoop Dreffin's ass.
All right, let's do questions. Questions.
I'm waiting for questions, man.
Do we have no questions, guys? Give us questions on the Ask FM. Did we not put the? We didn't put the link in.
I did put the link there. I'm slowly getting questions, and they're not good questions. This or that. Melee stats or melee magic.
That's not a good question.
Okay. Do you think Falcon can win a major soon? And by major, I'm gonna just say super major. I'm gonna say the Genesises of the Evos and the Genesis.
To genocide. Yeah. Wizzy got really close to rivalries.
But that only had like, I mean, this is including Armada and everybody. Do we think they could do it soon?
Oh, I think it's improbable. But
I'm gonna say no.
I would say it's very improbable. But again, rivalries. I mean, who was our rivalries?
Mango, Mewtwo King, and Hungry Bucks.
That's pretty good. That's like all like the hardest people though, right? Because for Falcon, I mean, like, aren't you more worried about Mango versus Falcon?
Yeah, but they didn't even run into each other.
Yeah, well, he got lucky. So it takes a little bit of luck too. Mango got 7 in the rivalries, dude. What a terrible coach! Didn't you see the bracket?
I got melee stats to do it.
That's the thing. You got to corrupt seed the bracket so he gets first.
Okay. Next question. Do you see a world where Smash 5 resembles PM in melee dice?
No.
No. Thoughts on False, the Jigglypuff main from Canada that beat PPU?
Marths really suck against Puff, and it depresses me.
And he won Fox game too, which was even more depressing.
Having said that, good stuff, bro. No hate in my game. Good job. You beat a top player. You deserve all the love and respect. It's not like it's easy anyway. So, good job.
Hungry Box versus Plup, first to 10. Who wins and what score? Can't counterpick the same stage twice in a row.
Hungry Box versus Plup. H-Box is still favored, guys. I know that Genesis second set is still weird to me. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. He picked Stadium twice. Like,
I say Hungry Box 10-7.
I think Hungry Box 10-6.
Okay.
Or 10-5. 10-5. 10-5. 10-5.
Damn.
I'm gonna make it more drastic. I think H-Box is a significant edge.
Why has it been historically okay to be a Yoshi's Marth, and now it's required to...
Historically okay to be a what?
A Yoshi's Marth, and now it's required to learn FD chain grabs. Is it okay to be a Yoshi's Marth in 2018? I have no idea what... I'm presuming that, like, Marths that are good on platform stages, but not on FD.
Why don't you just be good at both?
Yeah, like, why are you hamstringing yourself by, like, not being good on stages you're supposed to win?
Just be good at both. It's not that hard. Marth, baby.
If Mewtwo King was forced to play Marth only, would he still be top 10? How about in 1 to 2 years? Yes to both questions.
If he was playing Marth only, he would not be top 10.
What would the difference be?
Dog, he'd lose to every ICs in the world. Literally all of them.
I mean, isn't he not doing very well against them anyway?
True, but like you start seeing crazy stuff like Johnny pulling out his ICs. Taffo would pull out his ICs in bracket. Practical TAS will see Mewtwo King in bracket and pull out his Ice Climbers.
Dude, I think you're underestimating Mewtwo King, man. I think Mewtwo King's clearly going to be like number 6 or 7.
What? You think he'd be higher ranked than Axe? Marth only?
I think the matchups.
You think he would lose to every Puff in the world, like literally all of them? I would take Legend over him. He would lose to ICs. He would lose to what else does he really need Sheik for? He'd probably lose to the Sheiks.
I guess he could be kind of liable against like.
He's okay against in that matchup sometimes.
He's okay against Samus. That'd be kind of an issue, right? He goes from
okay.
he'd go from like a 90-10 against Samus to like 75-25.
Yeah, he started losing. That's for sure.
Falcons would be kind of interesting.
Wouldn't it be interesting? He get destroyed. What are you talking about? You think Wizzy and Johnny are gonna lose to him?
I don't know. I mean, if
And
he
none?
okay. Let me say this. If Mew King only had to go Marth, there would be no question on the back of his mind. I'm gonna cop out to Sheik. He would eventually learn how to do more things with Marth.
That's a different assumption. I think it is. I agree with the general sentiment that he should learn these matchups and he should take it to the chin and lower his ranking for a little bit and lose some sets and whatnot as he learns to go Marth only in transitions. And I don't think it would take him very long to start becoming competent at the top those other matchups. Having said that, if he did it today and you're talking about how good would he be the day after, like dog, he would be getting like 17th at tournaments. Like that's a fact. He would lose. He has too many. Dude, you can't have that many bad matchups.
Okay,
and do well in tournaments. Like that's a lot of bad. He would lose to Axe every time, right? He would lose. He would lose to every ice climber. He would lose to every puff. He would be losing against the Falcons. Who knows what he'd do against the Sheiks? Like. You would literally be talking about a guy who, for has half of his bracket, you don't like his chances. He'd do bad.
But he's still like losing to a bunch of these people. He's already losing to, so I don't know if it's that much of a drastic dip.
You think he'd do better than Axe? We don't even know if he's better than Axe right now.
I'll slightly give it to him.
Okay, then you don't think losing his Sheik would give Axe the edge? Axe would win the head-to-head free. It'd be 3-0 every time.
He already does win the head-to-head right now. It's almost free right now.
Okay, almost though.
Like, have you seen the last 3 sets? It's been pretty bad.
Yeah. Now again, I think he'd learn, and I think long term he could become the best player in the world doing that. And I don't even think it's that long term. I think 6-8 months.
So you're saying he wouldn't fall a year or two from now. He would be better than he is now.
Oh, he'd be so much better if he did this.
Okay,
but it'd be a longer term play.
For the Twitch audience that we have and for YouTube watchers, I think they had to hear that because they're just thinking that he's just gonna fall off a cliff and then never recover. But what you're saying is that he will initially lose more matchups, but then he'll come back even stronger. Is what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. I also think that some of these matchups he was decent or good at, even in many cases, like the Samus matchup. As Marth, he just hasn't done it in so long that I don't know if he's still good at them. Maybe he can pull back the memories and unveil it. And honestly, he might refresh on those a lot faster than the others. But there's also other matchups that he just genuinely was never good at with Marth. So you got to keep that in mind. He'd have to actually learn those matchups. That's not easy.
I'm actually gonna look up something because this is actually kind of really. I'm wishing the best for Mew King. I wish he just played Marth, or he just picked Marth. He's lost the last 4 out of 5 sets against Axe. Ugh. That's gross. I think Mew King can pull it back, and I think the Marth is actually an amazing investment long term. Okay, next question, semi-related. Do you think Mew King should get a coach, and who?
He needs a coach, and he has 2 decent options. He has 1 decent option and 1 obviously very good one. But the very good one would require an extraordinarily high salary and I don't think he'd do it. The decent option is Cactuar. The extraordinarily good one is the Crimson Blur.
What about Umbreon now?
No.
Ppmd.
I mean, okay, yeah, but I mean, we can't even get PP to go to tournaments anymore, man. I don't know,
dude. You can
does he count? I don't know.
You can talk about. I mean, you can literally message PP, and he probably would have answered you with gleeful joy.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I think being Mitsuki's coach would be hard. It sounds like it'd be an extremely strenuous task. I think it would be stressful. I think a lot of it would be about life management, like managing his life instead of like just the gameplay. And I think pretty much everyone we listed just wouldn't want to do that shit. So um, I don't know. Maybe like if someone went at it like only on the gameplay perspective and he had a manager also, like if he had a manager that handled the life stuff and the gameplay stuff is all that mattered, maybe like Cactuar would be like willing to do it, for example. Like if it was strictly gameplay and didn't have to deal with all the nonsense, then maybe like you'd find people who are more willing.
Maybe you should just have Rick Fox following him around everywhere.
Yeah, that no, I don't think that's scalable. So yeah, he really needs a coach though, in my opinion. He really, really needs a coach, and he needs a Marth coach. He doesn't just need any coach. He needs specifically a Marth coach. Because he needs to learn matchups, right? Like that's the main thing. Like he needs a Marth coach who will break down matchups for him.
Well, why don't you have the Rishi Lot combo?
Yeah, pretty much stuff like that are good. Like some person who like can speak to him on a generational basis is also decent. Like he speaks a lot from like the era of 07. So like that's one thing I don't know about for Rishi was like, can he pull his brain back that far? And also, so like people like one reason Cactus was a choice of mine is because they're personal friends, right? Me and Jason are also good friends. Kevin, I haven't seen him not put up with Mew King, and I think they're friends too. So, like, I think those work. Amriel, Mao, and Mew King are friends, so that could be a thing. But Mao again hasn't really been active, and I don't know if he's been keeping up with the new metagame. So I
Didn't
would
they
doubt
used to talk a lot back in the day?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
So it could happen. He really needs one though. Like in my opinion, I think of all players, he needs him and Axe probably. Axe needs a coach real bad, in my opinion.
He just needs meds at every tournament. Meds, not the drugs, but like meds, the player, his friend.
Yeah, that helps. But I think he really needs someone who's like another eye that's looking on his gameplay. Because I think that guy's been walking an isolated road, trying to improve himself for a very long time. Like he's like the only Pikachu, has no one to look off of, and like kind of has to do everything, and he needs that strain pulled off him. It seems so stressful
but
from his perspective. So
I also look at him and like I think the tournaments he does the best is when his morale and spirit are high, and that tends to happen when he has his AZ homies, right?
yeah, no, I think that, don't get me wrong, that helps. But I think someone who's like would be dedicated to helping him would be a big deal for him.
But who are the list of people that can help him out with Pikachu stuff?
I think for him, you just take really good players who are willing to learn Pikachu stuff and kind of talk. Like he just needs someone to talk to. Is my point about high level Pikachu. Like someone who he can bounce ideas off of and be like, "Hey, what do you think here?" And then that person, if they're smart and know a lot about Melee, will learn with him. You know what I'm saying? Like he just needs that. I don't know if he has a source to vent his Pikachu knowledge to and his Pikachu thoughts and his matchup analysis to. And that's like a big deal. Right, it's a very big deal for someone like him.
All right. Is that Plup HBox set 2 going to have an asterisk for us when we evaluate this at the end of the year?
Plup HBox set for EGLX?
Yeah.
I personally don't even count it.
Yeah. Now
I counted 0%, but I do think HBox would have won anyways.
Yeah, but
I need to say that I don't count it, but I literally think he would have won anyway.
With that being said, I have to agree with you there. Whether or not Plup actually did win that set, I don't think it would have changed my opinion right now of who of the top 3 in the world. I still think HBox 1, Plup 2 is what I would pick. So in essence, it doesn't really change much for us. At least
You think Plup's the second best player in the world right
now? Who has the better argument?
Armada?
Does he?
I don't know, but that's kind of a crazy thing to say.
I think Armada's number 4.
Plup wins 1 tournament and he's second best player in the world?
What has Armada done lately?
Facts. Ooh, you didn't have to say it like that though. It's a little, it's hurts feelings.
I mean, Armada. I mean, if you go like back 3 months ago, yeah. I think if he beat Leffen at Valhalla, I would have still given him number 2. But the fact that he lost to Leffen at Valhalla and then didn't do so hot at Genesis lets me put Plup ahead.
Plup's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm just kind of presupposing it. Like talking about it.
Of course, you're playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. Like I said, if Plup had won EGLX, he'd have been in the conversation for best in the world. So it's not like I disagree with you.
Yeah.
I hate that EGLX Grand Finals is so stupid like that because now Plup just kind of didn't have that.
So where does that go in terms of like the most ball busting, blue balling like Grand Finals? Like Genesis 4, obviously up there.
Yeah, but that one was ball busting just because Mano got bodied.
Yeah, and then Smash Con was pretty anticlimactic. Mewtwo King just got bodied.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I never remember SmashCon results. SmashCon is one of those events that like
Mango wins.
Its top 8s are I never seem to remember them.
Well, Zane breaking out, beating SFAT, Mewtwo King's run-in losers.
Sure, man.
Oh, Paragon Orlando was terrible.
I remember Mewtwo King Ice. That was a team thing in SmashCon, right? That's what I remember.
Paragon Orlando, probably by far one of the most disappointing.
Was that Mewtwo King H-Box? That one's
that ended in like a 4-stock, like Puff Ditto, whatever.
Yeah, that was very, very bad. People don't like to say it, but Pound 3 in some ways. There's definitely a point in Pound 3 that Mewtwo King gave up.
You mean Game 5 where he went, or Game 4 of Set 2 where he decided to go Puff, or the match before that?
Yeah, that one.
I'm still wondering, people John about that, but the fact that Mewtwo King got 4 chances on Corneria and Fox Puff, and he still lost, is just amazing to me.
That's so funny. It's literally the funniest stat, maybe in all of Melee history. This guy played Corneria 4 times. He got bodied. You know how bad Corneria is in Fox Puff?
Like you don't even die at 70. You die at 50.
And here we are, like a decade later, and this guy's still using his Fox against Puff. We're like, dude, this is nowhere in years of this did he ever think maybe learn Marth Puff. I don't know. Nowhere in this timeline.
He used, for what it's worth, he used to go Marth versus Puff against Mango's Puff. Remember that? I think one of the best games of all time was that Dreamland game. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Mewtwo King's Marth versus Mango's Puff on Dreamland.
Yeah, and you know how that went?
It ended in arrest.
It did end in arrest, but it was very close.
I think
it was like a. That's true. That's true. Ken did better against Mango with Marth.
But that said, spacing and like zoning concepts have gone way better since then. But at that time, I thought that was one of the most fun matches for me to ever watch in that given period of time because the zoning was really fascinating for me.
Yeah.
Do you think they're kind of hurting themselves, Plup, Armada, and Mewtwo King, from picking Fox as opposed to picking their mains? So let's kind of go down the list. Plup, Samus definitely would not win that. Plup Samus.
Is Samus? I mean, I wouldn't write it off, but I don't think it'd be good to do Samus. With Plup, it's
Sheik.
I think Sheik Puff is really bad. It's my opinion. It might not necessarily even be the truth, but I mean, it just feels really hard. But at the same time, there are times in my life where I feel like Sheik actually wins.
Okay.
There are times in my life, and then there are also times in my life that I'm like, Blur, you're an idiot. Puff destroys, crouch is broken, back air is broken, and then I recenter myself.
Okay. If we're gonna imagine the hypothetical Plup Sheik, like I'm trying to picture like what stage is actually better for Sheik that Fox can't do. Maybe Fountain of Dreams, maybe Battlefield.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Here's my theory on Plup. I think he of all the people, I like Fox. At least I like him trying it for a while because the thing that makes him special is his movement, and honestly, it's less about character specific stuff for him. For me, at least, when I watch him, it's not like, like the reason why we talk about Mewtwo King and Marth so much is because his Marth is creative. Yeah. His Marth is active. Like it makes stuff happen. The way he plays Sheik is like not active, it's reductive, right? And that's not to say his Sheik isn't godlike. It is amazing, obviously, but it's specifically to say it is for that purpose, and you can't extend Sheik to other matchups that way because you can't play Sheik that way in some matchups. You just can't, right? Um, so his Marth is also the character which he had the highest peak with, right? Like
Yeah.
his was with Marth. So that's why we talk about him in that way. Well, with Plup, it's like what makes him special isn't even Sheik. It's not even or Samus, right? Like it's his two mains. It's the way he moves with those characters.
Yeah.
Like how he moves with Samus is not even like Samus like. We've never seen a Samus move like that. We never. I don't know if we ever will again. Like he's just so different. And with Sheik, he's got. It's more about his platform game with Sheik than it is with than like his tech chasing or anything in particular, right? And he can do a lot of that with Fox too.
But he
Shield
doesn't
dropping
need.
is still shield dropping.
But he doesn't need to. With Sheik, I feel like that's like one of your only few game plans that work on Puff. Like,
Yeah.
but with Fox can do that and more.
Yeah, and I also think like one thing we should mention, um, for why Fox is often a better pick for people than their mains against HBox is that yes, HBox is a lot more experienced in the matchup than they do, and that's why I think tournaments are made easier for him when everyone goes Fox against him. But Fox Puff is a pretty simple matchup from the Fox's side, right? As in, what I mean to say is like compared to like let's say some of the most complex matchups in Melee, right? Fox Puff is like laser them, kick them a few times, up throw up air, right? Like now there's always it's in Melee there's a lot more complexity there. There's so much more complexity there, so I don't want to reduce it down. But it's not like you have to learn entire combo trees. It's not like you know the fundamentals of Melee, which is like, hey, be good at spatial dynamics, right? Work with Fox Puff, and a lot of it's intuitive, right? Like knowing how to space your moves versus their moves. A lot of people can do that, right? And up throw up air is like the only skill that you have to consistently be able to do. That's like on that basis. You don't have to learn Fox's crazy tech skill stuff, right? You just kind of need to learn how to recover and up throw up air. Like
You need like up throw up air, ledge dash, and like maybe one to two other things.
And you don't even really need ledge dash against Puff, right? Sometimes she can't even catch you. It'd be nice to have it though. It's good.
I think it gets $100. It's like it comes up in enough situations. I think.
Yeah, sure. It's nice. It's nice, but like, point is, it's not like trying to learn Fox, like trying to learn Fox v Falco or something, right? Or Fox v Marth or something, right? Like, there's just a way you can play that matchup because of how much faster Fox is. That makes it a little bit simpler, and you can play it in a simpler way and find success. So, no, I think for Plup's case, I like him going Fox. Mewtwo King, I don't.
Armada.
I like him going Fox. I do think there is something to him going back to Young Link.
Like, but that's still not like his main though.
Yeah, but I think he has to go secondary. But I do think there's something to him going Young Link.
I think you could go Young Link just so that Hungrybox has to get reused to playing Fox. So let's say like Armada plays 2 games of Fox, they split 1-1, and then the next game Armada goes Young Link on a stage that's not as good for Fox, and then he goes back to Fox the next game. I can actually see that being a good strategy for him.
Yeah. So, and then who else is there? Who else goes secondary Fox against Itchbox?
Mango.
That's not really second. I mean, it is secondary, right? Mango's really a Falco man.
Yeah. He only plays Fox in like 2 matchups.
Yeah, Peach and Puff. I think it's right for Mango too.
Oh man.
So, it's correct for everyone with Mewtwo King. Is my. And I mean, Mewtwo King's win rate wasn't that bad last year, so maybe we're wrong, honestly.
I think Mewtwo King has like almost like a free win on Stadium against Hungrybox, and those like almost guaranteed wins are really important.
Yeah, and he's really good on FD too.
So you get 2 stages. You just need Mango to borrow Hungrybox, Leffen, and Mewtwo King's controller so that they win on Yoshi's, and then that's 3 stages, and then you're done.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Mewtwo King's answer could be to stay Fox against on FD and Stadium, and mix in Marth on like Yoshi's, and he'll just get there.
Yeah, if all the Foxes learned Yoshi's, then it would be amazing for all of them because now you have 3 stages that work for you, as opposed to 2, which most of the Foxes have.
It would help. It would definitely help.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, Hungrybox keeps getting Battlefield Game 5, but that's its own separate topic. Where should I go for psychological support? We're probably the wrong guys to ask, but I'm pretty sure you can type on the internet somewhere on Google for psychological support, and I'm pretty sure you'll find a bunch of resources. What has HBox done so differently that has made him so dominant in the past few months? I would just say consistency, right? Just consistency and execution is a huge part.
Dude, he's just hella good. Like I think again, in general, it's weird to say that like they're making it easy for him because he's still playing like Puff's hardest matchup. And he's it's never easy to beat top foxes, but I do think at this point it's hard not to say they're making it easy for him because my man's got to learn one matchup. They that just drastically reduces what you have to work on every tournament. It's just much easier to win that way. So I don't think it's just, of course, the field and how they're reacting to him, but I also think like he's just straight up the best player.
Yeah. Oh man, I still remember the friendlies against Meet the King and Fox versus Marth. That was disgusting. Well, you make a video for Crush deserving a sponsor. I will tell you this with a wink that if Crush wanted a sponsor, he'd have many suitors. If he wanted one, wink, wink. Anyway, next question: Crush or Lucky?
Crush. Yeah. We have to say it now.
We do.
I remember last weekend.
The better question is whether Crush or Amsa is like number 10. Anyway. We already went through Hungrybox versus Ken for all time. We said Hungrybox. Who do better versus Leffen, SFAT or Amsa? Those Amsa versus Leffen sets were very disgusting in Leffen's favor. I don't really see SFAT beating Leffen anytime soon, so I'm going to go Amsa.
You're going to go Amsa? I mean, Leffen knows that matchup because he was a Yoshi. Yeah. He was a Yoshi main for a long time. Yeah. Hard to say, honestly, though, because they haven't played in a while. Probably, the answer is probably Amsa, because S5 just got bodied so hard that one time. So, it's tough to say. They kind of both get bodied.
Yeah. The mystery we have here is we kind of know what we're getting from SFAT, but like Leffen and Amsa haven't played in a while. So, I think there's a lot more variability in how much Amsa has evolved in the past few years versus like what we know from SFAT. So...
Yeah, I think that's fair.
JD Puff is S tier. Change my mind.
Why? Why should I change your mind? It's not an incorrect opinion to have. I don't know if I necessarily agree with you because I think there's only 2 S tier characters in this game, Marth and Fox. But I don't think it's a wrong opinion. Melee's, a wrong opinion would be Bowser in S tier. A wrong opinion could even be Ganon in S tier, right? Like a mid tier or something. But Puff is good enough that that argument isn't absurd at all.
What was our favorite Smash Bros. Tournament of all time? For me, it's like nostalgic. I would say Genesis 1 because that was the first Super Major I went to. And the crew battles and the environment and watching Mango take it are very memorable experiences for me. I mean, there are a bunch of other events that were definitely more well run and exciting, but Genesis has a special place for me.
I have a really hard time with this one. I mean, it's probably Apex 2015 for me.
P.S. Blur, I ain't done yet.
I think it's it was one of the worst weekends of my life. I actually hated it as a human being because I was awake for like 60 hours straight. But I always look back at it and I'm very proud of it. And I still think it's the best show we've ever put on. So...
I agree with that.
So overall, probably Apex 2015.
Let's see.
Also, I mean, also, I was really proud after like the KOC one was a pretty big deal for me.
Let's go KOC one. First, is that the first like bar tournament?
Yeah, it basically bar tournament became a thing for KOC one.
What do we think about Ryan Ford? I mean, his recent resume included beating Slocks and Hacks by winning Rise. He beat Swedish, beat Hugs, beat Lucky. I can have some preface here. Some people are doing ranking, like seeding rankings or recent rankings for in melee stats, and then when we looked at who can fill number 20, I think there's like some question of like West Bowls, Chu, and PPU. And I think in that conversation for that kind of tier of players, you can toss in Ryan Ford there, which seems a little bit unintuitive. But if you look at their resumes, like Ryan Ford's resume has been really solid, that you can actually have an argument for him in the top 20 right now.
Ryan Ford, man, he used to be top 10 in the world. We said it when he started coming back and playing more actively. Like, never doubt someone that good. Ryan Ford's amazing.
Um, oh man, these there's it's like either these questions come from a place of hating Jigglypuff or loving Jigglypuff. Would banning Puff from tournament help the growth of Melee?
We're never banning Puff from tournament, man. If you don't like it, skedaddle.
At any given point, yeah, I agree with you. At any given major, would you think that aside from the top 6, you would take Wizrobe over the rest of the field at upsetting Hungrybox? I think he's up there. I mean, who else is like a good candidate of defeating Hungrybox if we went down the list?
After the top 6?
Yeah. I don't. Axe doesn't really have much of a shot, although he's gone close a few times. You have Wizzy, Esfed, Amsa, Crush, Zane, Lucky, Koval.
Yeah, Wizzy has the best shot.
Yeah, Wizzy does.
Wizzy has the best shot.
Now, does Wizzy have like a? If we were to bet Wizzy or Field, that's another question. I would probably say Field if you went Field combined versus Wizzy, but it would be. I think Wizzy's the most likely.
Yeah, Wizzy's the most likely.
I'm not too drunk. Would Blur or you want to be on a panel to judge the greatest combo videos ever on different criteria?
Actually, that seems like what were you gonna say?
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot of work. But I have thought about before, like we should do like another combo video contest or some shit.
It didn't really work out very well.
Did it? It didn't.
No. Or we have to put a cap on it. Like the combo videos got disgustingly long. Like they were like 9 minutes. When I felt like they should have been like 3 or 4.
Okay. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with like keeping open at a timer. No. Some of the best combo videos are 9 minutes. 9 minutes is not that long.
It becomes really long when you're judging them.
Well, you're lazy. They put way more time into the videos than you did judging.
Okay, imagine looking through 40 of those videos straight.
That's Taffel. You're lazy. We just need someone different than Taffel doing it.
No, it's really. You just try it once. After like the 9th video, you're just like, okay, we're fast forwarding it.
Dude, I feel like you know within 3 minutes whether the video is going to be good enough to make like the list.
Yeah, or you can know whether or not a person TAS their videos or spent 600 hours on Netplay.
You could.
Duck or Hugs? I think we answered this. We both said Hugo.
Hugo.
Melee stats or melee magic was a setup for you to say you can keep your statistics. I prefer the magic. Just FYI, Tafo, damn it, PTAS. That wasn't a question. Mango versus Leffen versus 10. Who wins and what's the score? I would say Mango for now because Mango is not playing Dragon Ball Z all the time. But if this was like Genesis time, I would probably say Leffen 10-7.
I would love to see that set. I think it's be super close, but I'd also go Mango by a slight margin right now.
Yeah, and that's just because Leffen's just playing Dragon Ball all the time. What is Grace's tier list for how quickly top melee players submit the papers and stuff they need? So offhand, me knowing what goes on, I think SFAT's really good about doing it.
What?
His paperwork.
Is he? I don't think he is.
Who else is good? Armada and Leffen are pretty bad. But Armada does it eventually. So does Leffen. Muti King is horrendously bad. Hungrybox is okay. Like whenever Hungrybox needs to fill out a form, he tends to be pretty good. Plup tends to be pretty responsive. Axe is randomly responsive but polite. SoCal players are pretty lazy. SFAT's been good. He's usually pretty responsible.
Anyway, let's go to the next question.
If after Apex 2015, PP didn't get sick and HBox retired to become... I don't like answering these what if HBox left the scene questions, so we're going to skip it. Do you think Axe has been running into the same wall as Plup did in mid-2014, early 2015 with Samus? Pikachu feels another limiting question and another question about asking Axe to dual main. How many questions have we gotten over this before?
Yeah, it's all ridiculous because Axe could totally do it with Pikachu.
What has been keeping Armada from dominating the way he did in 2015 through most of 2017? HBox got good.
HBox beats better than him. He can't go his best character against his primary rival. That's a big deal. You know, that's a big deal. His Peaches, I mean, people don't. His Fox is obviously godlike. It's really good in a lot of matchups, but his Peach is still significantly better, guys.
Yeah,
everyone knows that, right? Like his Peach is like significantly better.
And I also think that there's just like a mental excitement that's not there. Where I think in 2015, 2017, you saw the drive from Armada to want to be the best, whereas Armada is like kind of going through the motions. I feel like of going to event. I don't think the drive is there.
I agree.
Another HBox leaving the scene question. How long will it take for other players to solve OMSA like SFAT has? So I don't think SFAT has solved OMSA, though he's gotten a lot better at the matchup where he's not embarrassingly bad at it anymore, and now it seems like they go 50-50.
I don't think there is solving. You don't solve someone as good as OMSA.
Okay.
Yoshi is not the kind of character that gets solved.
I feel like it goes from like being terribly incompetent with the matchup to like you can actually take sets.
Yeah, people will get better at the matchup. I totally believe that'll happen. But they won't solve him. Dude, he's been good for like a long time now. So similarly, like Axe has been at the tippy top level. As many know, I think Pikachu's an incredible character. I think he's way better than people rank him. So Axe is a little bit different situation. I think Yoshi's more limited than Pikachu is. But Yoshi's definitely more than good enough to not get solved. Like he won't get solved. But people will do better against him if they learn the matchup. But many people won't. That's the truth. Some of them are going to suck at it for years. That's just going to happen because they have sucked at it for years. Some of them, and I don't see anything stop. Like that might just continue.
Is there any evidence that we have that Marth beats Puff?
My word.
Okay.
That's all I got. I mean, there's no. If you're talking about like historically, yeah, okay, 08 and before, Marth was beating Puff, but like, dude, Marth does not lose that matchup. You literally, if you could, when someone shows me a match of Marth v Puff, at the quote unquote top level, you cannot tell me that both players are playing the matchup. It's just not true. It's just not true. The Marths are literally god awful at it. Like you have to have like an extraordinarily basic and like simple understanding of Melee to not see that the Marths are terrible at the matchup.
Okay. So I have to ask you this: there are other matchups that, despite years of evidence pointing otherwise, that we're somehow convinced that like certain matchups are 50-50, or the character that seems to be losing 90-10 are like somehow favored in the matchup. I'll give you some examples. Pikachu versus Marth.
What? No, I think Pikachu genuinely beats Marth.
Mewtwo King and Axe seem to think otherwise.
Yeah. What, Mewtwo thinks that? Are you sure Mewtwo thinks that?
I think he thinks it's at least 50-50.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like at the moment, I think it's probably Pikachu 5545 or something. Um, but I could be wrong. I definitely think there's a lot of development that maybe Mart does win, or I could see a world. Don't get me wrong, but my current theory around the matchup has Pikachu winning. That's what I'd say.
And then
That's
we're somehow convinced that because Ladanis beat Nintendude once on FD, that somehow like Sheik wins like against Ice Climbers, despite the fact that like
okay. No, if people who think Sheik wins against Ices need to check themselves. That they have to think that like Sheik with shield dropping is just broken. So no,
like at what point? So I guess it applies here. Like at what point do we kind of like scratch our heads and go like maybe Marth doesn't win against Jigglypuff?
I think there's just like I think for me it's at no point on there's literally no Marth out there that is representing the matchup at any sort of competence that I think like any of the data is relevant. Like the data to me is just seriously irrelevant because they suck that badly. That's like it's like looking at Doc data in 2018. Like, who cares? That's not a representative of how good Doc is as a character. Like those players are just too bad for it to really make a difference about my opinion of Doc.
So
I still look at Shroom back in the day for it because the Mars are that bad at the matchup.
So we're saying that like Moon is just that bad at the matchup that Legend, a person we perceive to be many tiers lower in overall skill.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
He is horrible at the matchup.
What about Ppmd, who actually beat Hungrybox in a set?
He is better at the matchup than Moon. Still very bad.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Crusher SFAT at the end of the year.
SFAT.
I'm gonna go
okay.
SFAT.
Yeah, I can see the other one though.
I think SFAT like beating top 15 players is like no one cares, but every time Crush beats like a top 15 player, it seems like everyone talks about it. Melee events where all the top 50 are in attendance except the top 6. Who do I take? I easily take Wizro.
Can you say it again?
Melee event where all the top 50 are in attendance except the top 6. Who do I take?
You easily take Wizrobe. You don't take Axe?
I don't take Axe.
Even though he has the head-to-head against Wizrobe. I know Wizzy just won, but...
I think just Wizzy against Field is way better than Axe against Field. Wizzy's only dropped the set to Axe, or he's only lost 2 sets to non-top 6 players in the past 6 months. One to Amsa, where he's ahead in the head-to-head.
I agree with you, no. Your reasoning is very strong. You're right, Wizzy.
I would say Axe is more likely to defeat members of the Big Six than Wizzy, but Wizzy against any non-Big Six is just so strong.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily that statement doesn't necessarily mean Axe shouldn't be ranked above Wizzy, because Axe, you're right, he is better against the Big Six, but yeah, Wizzy is really strong against Field.
But who knows? Wizzy's taken a lot of the Big Six to Game 5s. Maybe this is the year he starts taking sets. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
Would we like to see more first to 10s like the FGC does?
Yes. If you guys watched the Daigo Tokido Street Fighter 5 one, that shit was amazing. And I don't really like Street Fighter 5, but I still thought it was amazing. So I think long sets are fun.
Who's our first two? Who would be our candidates for the first 2 guys we put? I mean, Left and Mango seems like a really good one.
Left and Mango seems good. I mean, I'd like it to be like one of those things that, you know, they prepare for it a lot, that they kind of propose on their own. Like Daigo Takedo happened because they like set it up themselves, right?
I
like it that way.
You don't see a world where Mango and Leffen start beefing and say first to 10.
I do see a world. They just need to do it then.
Other good candidates I could see: Mango Mewtwo King, Leffen Mewtwo King, Crush Zane. If we want some easier ones for people from the same region, I think Lucky Johnny is always a good one.
So here's a question, Tafo. Well, let's do a little brainstorming session.
Okay.
Is there any way for us to automate this? Like, you know how in like boxing and wrestling and like tons of other like contact physical sports, they actually have figured out a way to automate this sort of hype. it was show matches and stuff and undercards and all that. The way they do it is they do belts and like, hey, you have to set it up with a manager and a PR guy. Like they all get together and they set it up. And since the players know their profitability comes from how hype it is, they go out and do a bunch of like marketing events where they like talk shit to each other and like all that, right? They've built a system around shit talk, right? They built an entire sport around it. Um, is there a way for us to automate it? Like, is there a way to like maybe a championship belt, or would in a world where we just said
In a world,
in a world, if we just said every June, I don't know, we run an event where like you can vote in matchups, like hey, we'll put Left and Mango, Crush Zane, whatever, all these on a list, and these guys all jockey to be a part of this like exhibition event. Would that succeed? Like,
I think if we ran one exclusive event maybe twice a year, I think that would be pretty cool. Because production doesn't need to be that big. You have the people who are beefing, you have the title match, and then you have the matches before, right? You can have 3 to 4 cards for an event.
Yeah, like we do a Salty Sweep, but like we've had a hard time ever since recreating it. Like I would love to do it at a premiere event. I think that way works too.
But we don't have any time where players are willing to play.
Maybe.
I mean, the number one complaint
day one, dude, they'll do it. They did it. They used to do it.
Okay, but like imagine this: like me taking Mango and Leffen are beefing, right? Like chances are we're going to play in tournament. They have a good chance that they probably play in tournament.
So you're saying you wanted it at a completely separate event?
Yeah, because it kind of kills the hype, right? Like Mango Leffen first to 10. Oh damn, Mango won 10-8. Oh, they're playing again in like 2 days. Like it kind of kills like the prestige of it, knowing that they're probably going to play in like 2 days.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I'd be willing to figure out a way to make it so that we can fund something like that. I mean, hell, I could run out of Foundry for all I care. And I think that'd be a fun little environment for something like that, like a cage match type of situation. I just don't know if the players would be down and if we could make it appropriately hyped to do it. But I would love to figure out a way to automate something like this, where you just like, it doesn't have to be many times a year, like literally twice a year potentially. It's like a 1-day affair where it's like, hey, we're doing a special exhibition that we're all looking forward to.
Yeah, I think there is a niche that we can fill with this that will do well. We just got to figure out the timing of it and how to structure it, and I think it could work.
It's just the hard thing is, if it's a standalone event, it's like a 5-hour broadcast max, right? Like with like the top card and the 2 undercards maybe. Like it's pretty much just a complete loss leading event. You see what I'm saying? Like it's not that much broadcast hours. It would have to spike up to spike down, and you'd have to like fly people in, and you'd have to probably put a prize pool up to make it good. I think it's exciting, and I think it's cool because it's unique. I don't know if I like the economics of it, and I also like don't know if the fucking players would ever get on board to do it right, like to do it right with like content beforehand, and like to really like go at each other and make it good. Maybe honestly, if the best scenario is if the players fucking pay for it. That's how a lot of boxing and stuff works. Like they figure out their own monetization. What if it's like both of you guys put up 5K and we go from there? You know what I mean? There we solve the prize pool, and they fly themselves out, and we set it up.
It'd be interesting.
We could do it that way if they'd be down, and that could be a thing.
Let's see. It's an interesting idea. I think we should come back to that.
Yeah, it could be a thing.
Next one's coincidentally a 1st to 10 question. We just answered that. Hack Sardinos. What's the status on that?
Dude, is it? I don't want to say it, but my man's not exactly great with timelines.
Soon TM.
Along
with the Mango Cruise. Although Mango Juice, in the works. So some of these Mango Soons are actually in fruition. How much longer do you two think the scene has? What can we do to encourage new players to pick up Melee? We advertise the shit out of Smash 5.
Yeah, we have to make sure Smash 5 gets a really good release. Yeah, I think pace we're going now, Melee has a solid like 3 years of like really good shit, like as in what basically similar levels we see now, and then like a 5 year of like pretty good activity. It could be shorter than that. What we see now, and then there is the if all the cards line up, in which case we're living forever. And the whole Smash Bros. Scene, I don't think it's going anywhere. So, but the big question is growth. I think I really hate questions of are we gonna die, because we've been like far away from dying for like a really long time. Like, are we gonna die was a relevant question in 2008, right? Like for Melee.
2009 was awful for us.
2009 was awful, right? Like in 08 and 09, you could make a genuine question: is Melee gonna die? That was a genuine question, right? And you know, but ever since then, I don't think it's been a real question. The better question is: are we going to decline, or are we going to plateau, or are we going to grow? Those are much better questions, because truth is, game's not dead as long as people are playing it. And me and Taf are going to do the show every week, so
yeah.
So you got that going for us.
When do you think best of 5 should start for a tournament?
Top 64.
Even for like a local?
No. Jeez, no. Local is top 8.
Okay.
Yeah, but
there are definitely some like majors where like I feel like the talent pool should start like at best of that top 32.
There's some, yeah, like for sure. I think like the Mango, I would put it at top 32. But that event can't, maybe because it's a 1 day. But like there's, in terms of the talent pool, you know what I mean? Top 32, top 16 maybe makes more sense for that event.
Yeah.
I think that event maybe could only do top 8 because of, again, the size of the event. So that's a bit of an exception. But in terms of just by calculating based purely on talent pool, some events definitely are okay at 32. But I think like the super majors, it should be 64 for sure.
Lot or Triff at the end of the year? Oh man, this is actually a tough one.
I'm gonna go with Triff. I think Triff's better, man. Not by that much. I think Lot's very good.
I think it's close. It really just boils down to how much can Triff travel, and that's like just the unfortunate reality.
Yeah, I think Triff is fucking great, but he just can't travel, so it's like we can't really make a real argument.
Just beat Leffen more, and we'll if you can. Actually, has he beaten Leffen? Ugh, it looks ugly. Just pull some upsets in Europe, and then get flown to like Don't Park on the Grass or something. All right, first to 10, Cruncher Michael 41 billion trillion.
Who was it? Crunch?
Crunch, I play Hungry Box nonstop all the time.
Jeez. With that fact, I mean, I think, hey man, Michael 41 trillion just won a tournament, man. Let's not bring him down.
I'm gonna go with Michael 41 trillion. I think Crunch has the fundamentals down, but I think Michael 41 trillion's got it. Although Michael 41 trillion's like little thing is that he like plays super lame and super campy, and Crunch has made a living dealing with that style. So it would be closer than I think a lot of people would think. But I'm gonna go with Michael 41.
I think the serious answer is probably Crunch, but my man just won a tournament, so we're gonna go with Michael 41 trillion.
Shouts to the amazing support from the Nintendo VS Twitter account, tweeting out EGLX top 8 for both games. Oh, wait. Okay, that wasn't a question.
I think that was more of a statement. I know the Nintendo Versus guys. They're good peeps.
They missed out.
They've been doing Melee tweets for a bit, right? I mean, dude, guys, who cares, man? It's a fucking tweet. Like, straight up, guys. I don't care about that. I think most of the people following that account are actually smashers.
Can I rant?
It's a 62,000 follower Twitter account. I don't care.
You know what I have to... I'm going to rant. I kind of hate. I catch myself sometimes with this, and I'm pretty sure with your social media fast, like you're kind of noticing this too. I hate how cynical people are, and like they use every little point of detail to take the worst out of anybody and assume the worst, and go like, yeah, look at them, Nintendo VS. They forgot to tweet out something. They're the worst people ever. And like I kind of hate that about social media. How like we're so eager to pitchfork people and like just be mad for the sake of being mad. Anyway, that's my rant.
You know, you know how I've been like basically staving off social media as much as I can of late. It's really hard considering my job. Sometimes I actually can't not use social media, but it's actually really bad for people. I'm quite convinced of it at this point. I do not think it's good for humanity or for individuals. I think it's quite bad.
Um,
And I recommend to anyone who can avoid it to try staying off it as much as you can. It's not good for you.
yeah, just play Puzzle Fighter instead.
Play Puzzle Fighter, man.
Um, so how do we get a celebrity to co-play with one of our biggest streamers?
Uh,
Shouts to Ninja and Drake.
yeah. That was actually one of our topics we wanted to win. How do we get Drake to play Smash Brothers? How hard can it be, right? Like we gotta get him to do it.
We all tweet out God's plan memes until Drake notices and say,
You think he runs that Twitter? I think he has access to that Twitter. I don't know if he runs that Twitter. So,
"Dude, what kind of A-list celebrity?" Can we
dude, how sick would it if I got to match it with Big Sean? That would be big. That would be a big deal.
Dude, did you see Fun Animation tweet out Goku in Smash?
That'd be hype.
Did you
Goku
see-
with Smash. Goku with Smash. I'd be seriously playing Smash 5. That's the bottom line.
It would be hype. So how do we get a celebrity?
I don't know. I literally don't know. I don't think we can. But maybe. I mean, there's some celebrities I know like Smash. I know the Blink 182 guys like Smash, for example. But in terms of like S list, it's pretty tough. It was a pretty special moment for Twitch, though. I'm gonna be honest. It was pretty dope. I'm not like at a point where I'm not really in the park of people who say, "Oh, if this validates gaming or all that." Like, maybe, even though I do, Tafo, I hate you. Stop it. I'm just not like the kind of person that I am a gamer, but I don't like. I don't know. I don't identify with subcultures, so it getting validated doesn't really mean anything to me, and it also just seems weird that a guy playing a video game somehow makes something good or worse for people. Like I don't know. I just kind of it doesn't hit an emotional sweet spot for me, but I just thought it was cool because I like Drake, and so that was pretty rare. It was definitely a cool moment, but I don't know if it was like a. Some people take it a little too far. That's all I mean. Tapo, any other questions?
Not good ones.
All right.
I think we got like. Let me like sort through like a few more. Yeah, no more. I'm gonna type a little bit. Let's look in the chat.
Yeah. I want to do one more question. Let's do one more. One more, guys. I guess the point I'm making is I thought gaming overcame this hurdle like 20 years ago. So I kind of celebrities playing video games is pretty commonplace.
Sorry.
Nothing triggers me as much as Tafo typing. Now you're just fake typing. Can we end the fucking show?
All right. Good night,
I hate
guys.
you, Tafo. All right. Good night.
Hey. Hey, Blair.
What's up? I'm still here. I want to do one more question. Can we do one more question?
Okay. Hey, I figured out how to get you to stop talking.
Yeah, be really annoying. It works. Impressive.
Impressive.
Seeing that our Xbox and Armada are going to Smash West, do you think that's going to be an important tournament? Yes, I do. When is the next Out of Focus? I was supposed to do one last weekend, and I didn't.
All right, you're doing one.
I'm supposed to do one this week. On what? I don't know. I've had like a few different ideas. I could do what does Smash 5 mean for the scene? I could do like a recap of the competition committee, like and learnings and all that. I feel like that one's kind of boring right now. I could do full blown preview or something like that. I could do a bunch of things, man. Commentator Curse is a lot like Out of Focus, but it's more long form. It's mostly just an outlet for me to like be able to talk about Melee because I don't want to commentate, so I'm trying to have some other way of interacting with the people because I miss it sometimes. Yeah, the last two Out of Focus were not like the CC. It didn't have Tafo typing, so what's that? Tycrest said, "Is anything actually happening with the 5?" I think we've pretty much settled on UCF as much as we can for this year ish, or for a while until adapter stuff comes around. For the box stuff, there's like a pile of documents. We had a meeting about it today, like an hour and a half about it, and we're talking again on Friday. So that stuff is moving forward a bit, but the trouble is that like the various box manufacturers and guys kind of just fundamentally disagree with each other, and they the simple way of putting it is um, each of their amendments makes the other box illegal. Um, so we have to kind of make like a either it's about choosing a direction sometimes. So truth is though, I mean, if I'm being super honest about it, like I'm not a lot of people care. Dude, going through hundreds of documents and talking about button binds and double binds and like all this technical crap and capacitors and actuators. There's sneaky part of the back of my head that I know that I'm like literally doing all this for the maybe 100 to 200 people who are going to use these machines. So I have to be honest. There's something. There's a bit of that there, but we are working on it still. I agree. You know, Twitch. I think it's necessary, and that's why I'm doing it. A lot of it's out of obligation.
That didn't really feel like a.
Tafo, did you say something?
I don't even remember what my train of thought was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember. I just that didn't feel like a good last question to end on. Is what my thought was as I was reading
Yeah,
questions.
yeah. No, those dare links are actually hard. I would like it would be cooler if we did dare rest, of course, but down air puff linking into stuff is actually pretty hard. If you played puff, man, it's not easy.
You know what would
Okay.
be sick if
That was like just not finishing sentences. Um,
I can't just finish my sentences before I inception you.
so anyway, that's where we are.
Alrighty, you guys
Mhm.
should y'all watch Nimbus. We're kind of dragging our feet here.
All right, cool. Let's end it, baby. Let's
Alright,
end it.
what's the Nimbus stream?
Yeah, let's just send it over to them.
Alright. Oh, Leffen's streaming, but we're gonna host a meta shift, guys. So have a good night.